Hey, welcome to our regular council meeting for November 14th. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Council, can I have a motion to adopt the minutes from October 23rd? Councillor Holmes, Councillor Peak, thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Carried. Okay, a motion to adopt tonight's agenda. Are there going to be any amendments?
No.
No? Okay. Could we have a resolution to adopt? Thank you. Councillor Peak? Councillor Trainer, thank you. All in favor? Motion carried. Okay, we're going to be moving right into our public hearing agenda portion of the meeting. Just a minute here. So I'm calling the public meeting to order for the Nixon Road bylaw 2017-22, and I'll outline the public hearing process here. This public hearing is being held pursuant to Section 465 of the Local Government Act. During this public hearing, anyone who believes that his or her interest is affected by the proposed development will be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard or to present written submissions respecting matters contained in the bylaws that are the subject of the hearing. All information, correspondence, petitions, or reports that have been received concerning the subject bylaws have been made available to the public. Council may ask questions of staff and public, but once the public hearing is over, no new information can be received. Council debate on the bylaw will take place when the bylaw is considered after the conclusion of the public hearing. At that time, any questions of staff will be for clarification purposes only. I will be inviting the public to come forward and present their comments. Speakers are asked to state their name and address for the record. Speakers are encouraged to limit their remarks to 5 minutes and should include all of the relevant information in their presentation. Further opportunity will be afforded for all persons to speak a second or third time once all persons have had an opportunity to speak. I'd now ask the Director of Development Services to introduce the first item, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As noted, it's an OCP amendment and rezoning applications for property at 5418 Nixon Road. This is the second public hearing. The purpose of the rezoning and OCP amendment is to allow for the subdivision of the property into single-family lots. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, any other correspondence?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We did receive a piece of correspondence over the weekend from Norm and Jacinta J. It was circulated. It's been circulated to council. They are in opposition of the proposed OCP and zoning amendment.
Thank you. Okay, is the proponent here, please? Would you like to address council? This is the proponent, the developer.
Hi, Jacinta J. at 5610 Woods Avenue.
No, she didn't hear you.
No, I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't think you heard me. It was the proponent, the developer. Is he here?
Sorry.
Like to speak?
On behalf of the developer.
On behalf of the developer?
You have to speak into the microphone.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I was.
You just have it too low.
Okay, sorry. It's very rare that I have a microphone that's too low for me, I'll tell you that. Yes?
All right, good evening, Mayor, councilors. I've been asked to read a statement from Ray and Connie Davis, the landowners. My name is Kurt Boberge. I'm Ray's brother-in-law. Well, that's better. Way better. All righty. Good evening, Mayor and councilors. I've been asked to read a statement from Raymond and Connie Davis, the landowners. My name is Kurt Croberge. I'm Ray's brother-in-law. Raymond grew up on this property, and it's been in his family for over 70 years. The time has come for this land to be put to better use. They approached the municipality as to how best the property could be developed and have followed municipal and provincial guidelines to the letter. Ray and Connie are in full compliance with the district and planning department, as well as requesting the provincial mandated RSD1 zoning. The landowners have selected Ramesh Ricky as the builder. Mr. Ricky has been on the Provincial Real Estate Council of British Columbia for 17 years and has resided in Summerland for over 40 years. We plan on building affordable homes rather than selling the lots, because that can lead to disorganized neighborhoods. We have agreed to provide a 5% assessment on each lot to be contributed towards Trout Creek's green space as well as a walkway through the neighborhood. This project would bring much needed family housing to an area walking distance to a school. Homes with 3 bedroom, 2 baths, 2 parking stalls, and RV space as well. There is a strong demand for smaller lots in Trout Creek area, as witnessed by the applications coming to the planning department. The proposed homes will be built designed for families. Many parents have seen their children go through the Trout Creek School, played at the beaches and the parks, and have enjoyed the quiet atmosphere of the community. Ray and Connie would like to see the future generations enjoy the same things. Keeping the lots and homes affordable will help to ensure this is possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll ask the public for input, so I'm asking for the first time if anybody in attendance would like to speak to the issue.
My name is Marilyn Hanson, 7611 Oak Avenue. What we're questioning is why we are letting developers determine the design of our town. In Trout Creek, we feel that this lot size of 39 feet across is too small. Also, the configuration doesn't work out very well. There are 6 driveways exiting out onto Nixon Road where children walk and cycle to school. There is a better configuration of 17 houses with a possibility of green space, trees. There isn't much space for green space here. The other configuration has only 1 exit onto Nixon, and the rest of the exits go out onto Britton Road, which feeds into Wharf. Anyway, the lots are too small and too dense, and it's very bizarre. This first hearing that we had a sign up for us to look at to be aware of what was going on and where the hearing was to be about is a blank space. There wasn't information even given. So this is rushing forward in a way without very good input.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, I'd like to ask for a second time, if anybody would like to come forward. Hmm? Yeah.
Hi, Peter Cormio, 1108 Wharf. So this is the first time I've seen this map, but my understanding is that there's going to be 22 homes here. Does that mean there's going to be 22 carriage homes? That brings the total up to 44 homes. Each home has 2 cars. That's 88 cars, plus boats and trailers. There's nowhere to park. The other thing is, how's the access to the highway going to work? Right now, getting off of Wharf Street, trying to go onto the highway is impossible. If you have another 88 cars there, it's going to make it more difficult. What preventative measures are going to go in here to make sure that no extra lots are added? This happened down in Lighthouse Landing, and there were more lots added, and as you know, there have been trees removed. And what are you going to do to enforce short-term rentals? Are these all going to be rentals that are going to be happening? And I'd like to know what you're going to do about that, because the short-term rentals are illegal, apparently, in this area. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Jacinta J., 5610 Woods Avenue. My concern is not just about this proposed subdivision with 22 homes, but there's a lot of other homes being built in our neighborhood. Right at the end of Johnson and the highway, there's homes being built. There's more homes being built at Lighthouse Landing, and there's more homes being built by Woodbridge. So how many cars are we going to end up with? And as the previous speaker said, all those cars can't go out Wharf. They're going to end up going down by the school and up Johnson and putting our kids at risk, who are not just coming walking, but biking and walking to bus stops. And it just doesn't seem like there's an overall plan for our neighborhood. What I'd like to propose is that we have some sort of a committee with some residents of Trout Creek who can oversee some sort of a plan going forward, because it hasn't been done very well to date. And we need some sort of a plan so we don't just have a hodgepodge of big developments springing up all over the place. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there, Mike Pleasance from 1508 Britton Road. I just want to, again, continue on the line of the density of this development seems a little bit unnecessary. I understand there's been other proposals that have been put forward with lot sizes that are more in line with the rest of what's on Britton Road that it's tying into. I guess I echo the thoughts of, when you're talking about $750,000 homes, these people that are buying these homes also probably have RVs and boats and the toys that go along with the upper middle class families that are going to be moving into these homes. And there doesn't appear to be a very good plan of where all those extra vehicles are going to be going with the houses so densely put together. I also, I'm concerned with the precedence that I feel is being sort of formed in Trout Creek, where these postage stamp lots are being approved time after time after time. And I worry that everyone that has a half-acre land is then going to be turning that into 4 lots these size, and that's going to become the new norm for Trout Creek. And I think what you're hearing from the residents is not, don't develop this land. It's, let's do something that's a little more in line with what those of us that live there envision Trout Creek looking like 15, 20 years down the road. So just, I think it needs to be considered as a bigger picture than just this particular development. And there needs to be an overall plan for what Trout Creek is going to look like. And I think that, the public that, those of us that live there have the most invested interest, and I'd appreciate it if we're heard. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
My name is Pam Cormio, and I live at 1108 Wharf Street, directly across from the proposed development. And I have my prior concerns in letter form and verbally expressed them at the first meeting.
It's on. You just have to get a little closer, ma'am.
Okay. I would just like to reiterate that I have.
It's still not on. Sorry. I thought it was on.
Will Richards reach there? Jeremy? Oh. Will Richards reach there?
No.
It used to. I used to have a whole ton of it. I've done it once before.
Doesn't
We'll
look.
check the battery.
Testing.
Thank you. Thank you, so I'll repeat that. My name is Pam Cormio. I live at 1108 Wharf Street in Trout Creek, directly across from the proposed development that we see on Nixon Road. I have verbally expressed.
Testing again.
All right. Now I'm here. Okay.
Okay.
For the
Sorry,
third
ma'am.
time, now you know me. I'm Pam Cormio. I live at 1108 Wharf Street, directly across from the proposed development at Nixon. I have been at the prior meeting, public hearing, and expressed my concerns verbally at that meeting and reiterated them in a written form to council in a letter. And I just wanted to take this moment again to express my concerns around the densification that is proposed in this development. While I'm not opposed to land use in our municipality and the development of land that is willing and able and ready and lovely to be there in a beautiful area like Trout Creek, I think that the infrastructure to support the densification of this lot size is just not existing in the Trout Creek area. I think there are better ways to do it. I would also like to question that reports of highways, capacity of schools, and whether or not even if in fact this type of a development will attract the young families that we hope. We haven't seen that happen so much at Lighthouse Landing. And if we are going to make housing affordable for young families, I would just like to propose that that should be something that should really be examined in terms of the cost of these lots and all the other pieces that go with the increases in these amount of lots in our area. School capacity, highways, sewer, and roads. Right now, the roads are busy with children going to school, and I dread the thought of 44, let alone the 88 cars that could potentially be driving on that road. So I would just urge council to question the infrastructure to support this kind of densification and potentially think that it could be reworked, and while densification is maybe a good thing to proceed with, look at areas where it might be better suited. Thank you.
Is there anybody else?
My name is Don Anderson at 5215 Nixon Road, also own 5206 Nixon Road. Dear Mayor and Council, we reside at 5215 Nixon Road. We've lived here for 27 years, kitty corner to the property which is the subject of this public hearing. We do not support the rezoning of this property to RSD1 to allow a 22-lot subdivision. We fully understand this property will be developed. However, would only support a zoning of RSD2 or larger, which is in line with the long-standing character of the neighborhood. Recent rezonings to RSD1 in Trout Creek have not provided good examples of attractive developments. They consist of a hodgepodge of housing styles and sizes sited very close to one another. The proposed rezoning for the Nixon Road property to RSD1 will create another development of similar nature. As shown on district zoning map, the majority of lots in Trout Creek are RSD2 or larger. It is our opinion that if council proceeds with rezoning this property to RSD1, then is electing to change the character of our neighborhood. Additionally, rezoning the property would result in increased traffic on roads which have no sidewalks, extreme increased difficulty in accessing Highway 97 from Moore Street, compounded by the recent increase to the speed limit on the highway, more residents in an area with very limited transit service, more residents in an area with no commercial amenities. Walk Score gives the Trout Creek neighborhood a 24 out of 100, stating needs a car for errands. A lack of consistency in character with the adjacent new development on Britton Road. Yours truly, Don Anderson and Tracy Batten. In addition to that, has staff or council given any consideration at what point the densification of Trout Creek will put Trout Creek School out of the rural school grant of approximately $260,000? At what point are we going to lose that grant if we continue to densify the area? That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no one else, is there is opportunity for the third time? Would anybody like to come forward and speak to this issue? Okay, seeing none, council, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn this public hearing. Would someone like to bring that forward, please? Councillor Booth. You might as well read it out.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be reading.
Oh.
I would like to move to adjourn public hearing number one, OCP and zoning amendment 5418 Nixon Road.
Okay, thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Holmes, thank you. All in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to public hearing number 2. for, pardon me? Okay, sorry. We'll wait for things to adjust themselves considering the crowd. Okay, I think we're ready to move ahead. I'd like to call this public hearing to order for Elliott Street, please. Mr. Strachan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As noted, this public hearing is related to an official community plan amendment application as well as rezoning for 10701 Elliott Street. One of the three parcels is already zoned and designated for multifamily development. The application is for the adjacent two parcels in order to put the three parcels together and develop a multifamily development on the subject property. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any correspondence?
None, your
Okay.
mayor, your worship.
Thank you. Okay, we're moving ahead. I'd like to give the proponent an opportunity to speak if he's here. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is George Giannotti, and I'm representing myself and my family on this application. We've owned these properties for a number of years, and it's time that we've felt that it was a need to the community to create some multi-bedroom, 4-bedroom each units for young family accommodation. These are strata-tiled units, townhouse units. They're 3 floors. They're approximately 2,300 square feet total. There's 2 parking stalls for each unit. And we are hopefully trying to get these at a affordable housing component. That's quite a term to use these days because of the cost of lumber and materials. We're not really sure where that lies as yet, but there are different ways of trying to build a project like this where you have higher density. You can get better pricing in numbers, and therefore it hopefully bring the project into a scope where we can say to the young families that it will be affordable. The project is 14 units in 2 separate buildings. Because of the nature of the building code, the units will be also split by our firewall, so that no more than 4 units will be in any given one building component. We are proposing a corridor, which we'd like to call it a neighborhood corridor between the 2 buildings, which will be used to house a bunch of trees, which will have sitting wells around these trees, and they're there to try to slow the traffic down. We're anticipating that there will be an avenue for the kids to play in on this corridor street, but we also want to make sure that the traffic coming in and out of there gets really slowed down entering Elliott Street. There's play areas near the back of the property. These are deep lots. They're 200-foot deep lots. They're approximately 60 feet wide, and so that we're hoping that we can accommodate all the amenity requirements on the site. We have complied to all the proposed rezoning requirements for this. In fact, we're beyond that. We could have installed more units, but then the size component and the parking becomes an issue. So I'm here to answer any questions if anybody has any from the public and
Okay,
staff.
thank you. Okay, I'm going to ask for the first time, allow an opportunity for anybody in attendance to present their comments or views. So anybody like to come forward? Okay, for a second time, I would invite people to come forward and speak to this issue. And for a third time, for those in attendance to come and present their views, please come forward now. Okay, council, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn the public hearing, please. Someone like to do that? Councillor Carlson.
I will move to adjourn public hearing number 2 on Elliott Street.
Thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Peak. Okay, all in favor? Motion carries, none opposed. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to, yes, Councillor Trainer.
I'm just going to excuse myself from the next public hearing because the property is owned by the Summerland Credit Union and I have a contract with them.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is the public hearing for 1316-10 to 13-620 Kelly Avenue. Mr. Strachan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As noted, this is an OCP amendment and rezoning application for a group of properties on Kelly Avenue. The applicant is seeking the OCP amendment and rezoning in order to reconfigure the 4 properties into 9 single-family lots, each lot with a secondary suite. The parking is proposed to be accessed off the lane for the first 6 of the lots. The final 6 lots do not have access to the lane, are proposed to have access off Kelly Avenue. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Is the proponent here? Would you like to speak to this application?
Oh, Mr. Mayor, we've received no correspondence
sorry,
on
I
this. That's
should have
okay.
asked. Yeah.
Thank you.
No correspondence? Yes, sir.
Mayor and Council, good evening. My name is Fred Trainer, no relation to Aaron Trainer. And I live at 602 Sovereign Road in OK Falls. Next Thursday, I'll have been living in the South Okanagan for 40 years. This is my project. There are 4 lots on Kelly Avenue, right next to Hagen's Travel and across the street from the middle school. Those 4 lots are each 50 by 133, 3 times, and one at the end is 74 frontage and 120 deep. As Mr. Strachan has said, my plan is for 9 individual single-family dwellings with rental suite, each 3 beds, 3 baths, 1,967 square feet, aimed at young owner-occupied families. 2 parking spots for each house, large backyards, fully grassed, fully irrigated, spacious front verandas, and what we'll have after is a revived neighborhood with new sidewalks, trees, plants, and flowers. When I build our craftsman homes, I think that you have this in
Yes.
in your package, and do you also have the pictures of ones that I have done previously? Great, excellent, thank you. For the folks here, if they wanted to see this, this is what it basically will look like. This isn't 3D, so it isn't exactly what it will look like, but these are the houses and these are the way they will sit, and this is the type of project that I build. And this will be my 9th project in the last 10 years. When I think of this and I think of the community benefits, and I look at these lots that have sat there for a very long time, and what a good thing we can do together in the downtown core to densify and improve Kelly Avenue. Once kids get into middle school, they'll never have to move. Well, all the time that the kids are going to school, they'll be able to walk to school backwards in 5 minutes. So that's a good thing. We just think it checks a whole bunch of boxes, that being one of them. Densifying the downtown core, that being another. That means that more people downtown is more foot traffic for business owners. As I like to do when I do a project, I like to go through the neighborhood and meet the neighbors, and I'll show them what I do and how I do it, and I'm very proud of the way we do what we do. And in this case, I went to the downtown merchants, and 30 of them, because that's all the room there is here, 30 of them, when I would say, this is what I want to do, and if they like what we want to do, we have the name of their business, and their signatures. And so here are 30 downtown merchants saying they think this is a good thing for downtown Summerland. These are freehold units. They are not strata. There's no strata council. There's no strata fees. And in the backyards, Mr. Strachan, could you put up the site plan for me, please, just for a sec? If you look at the site plan, as Mr. Strachan said, the first 6 going this way on the screen have parking in the back. And we can't have parking in the back on the last 3 because the lane doesn't go that far. That's somebody's backyard behind there. So the parking will be in the front. But it still has a big grass backyard. All of them do. What I wanted to mention was you can't see it very well from there, but we've moved the houses a little bit closer to the street so that not only do you have the backyard, but if the owner decides at some point that they want to build a garage, there is room now for them to have a garage, and it will be legal. As for the benefits to the District of Summerland, a complete rejuvenation of a long neglected street. We'll be paying DCCs. We'll be paying park dedication, water and sewer fees, new water and sewer hookups. There will be 9 building permits, and there will be 9 sets of new property taxes. And I shudder to even think what the electrical costs are going to be or what the city works costs are going to be, but they'll be what they're going to be, and we'll pay them. So this project will generate over $3 million, and as much of that as can stay in Summerland will stay in Summerland. I have 2 crews, excuse me, and have had for years. And for this project, we will hire 2 more crews, and the 2 crews that we're hiring will be from Summerland. And also talking to Ken at Timber Mart, and I've made a commitment to him that if we do this, then he will be our lumber supplier and similar. So that's pretty much it for me. Thank you very much for your patience. And again, I just think, that we can do something really good for the downtown core here together, and I hope that you'll feel the same way.
Okay.
Thank you kindly.
Thank you, Mr. Trainer. Okay. There's an opportunity for the public to speak. So for the very first time, I'd like anybody in attendance who would like to present their views, please to come forward on this project. Okay, for a second time, is there anybody who would like to present their views? And for a third time, is there anybody who would like to come forward and present their views? Okay, Council, could we have a motion to adjourn this public hearing, please? Councillor Carlson.
I will move that public hearing number 3 for Kelly Avenue be adjourned.
Thank you. Seconder, please, Councillor Peak. Thank you. All in favor? Carried. None opposed. Thank you very much. Okay, we're moving on to
Councillor Trainer.
you got number 4?
Back, Councillor Trainer.
Okay, Councillor Trainer can come back in. I thought we had 4.
There is a 4th one.
There we are. Okay, sorry. Okay, is she coming back?
Jeremy's going to get her.
Welcome back. Okay. Okay, I'd like to call the fourth public hearing to order, please, for zoning bylaw text amendment to 2017-32. Mr. Strachan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is a zoning bylaw text amendment. This is a series of amendments brought forward for council's consideration. And the public hearing is related to a number of text amendments to the zoning bylaw, including adding secondary uses, secondary suites, excuse me, as an allowable use in zoning districts, the CR country residential, as well as the A1 agricultural zone. Sorry, the CR1 is proposing to add carriage houses, and the A1 is proposing to allow secondary suites. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Guess there's no one
Is there
to
any
speak to. Yes.
information on this?
Pardon me?
Is there any, like, information for the people in the public to know what this really means?
Do we have any further information, Mr. Strachan? Or
Sure. So this is an initiative that we discussed with council earlier this year to undertake some review of the zoning bylaw.
Gotcha.
So we are undertaking that review and update of the zoning bylaw. So this is brought forward by staff for council. This isn't driven by an application from the community. So there's a series of amendments that we're bringing forward that are housekeeping in nature. This particular group, because it is related to secondary suites and carriage homes, and those can bring forward other issues, we brought it forward separately from the housekeeping bylaw, which will be a larger bylaw arriving later this month.
Okay, thank you
That's
very
helpful.
much.
Thanks.
So there's an opportunity for the public to speak to this. So asking for the first time, is there anybody who'd like to speak to this issue?
Mr. Mayor, we did not receive any correspondence
I
on
keep missing
this public hearing.
Sorry.
That's okay, thanks.
Yes.
Mayor and councilors, thank you. My name's John Gordon, live at 8702 Milne. And I'd like to speak against the amendments being considered regarding the suites in A1 zones and carriage houses in CR1 zones. And particularly, it's what I have to say, I think, is particularly notable in view of the last two things that have been discussed here, which I think are fantastic ideas to improve what's going on and to increase density in downtown Summerland. After moving to Summerland, I became an A1 zone farmer. I can speak from experience that the upfront cost and municipal and health department approvals required would make it, I believe, unlikely that building a rental suite would be of interest to most farmers. Furthermore, most A1 farmers are farmers. Generally, their interest is, or at least should be, in growing food, not renting rooms. And by definition, most of the properties within A1 or CR1 zoning are not located in part of town that would benefit from densification. They're in the country. Densifying these zones means more traffic, and in fact, it's just the opposite of what Summerland's OCP and the last two presentations contemplate. Since A1 and CR1 zone properties in Summerland are generally outside the urban core, to me, now just a taxpayer, the inclusion of A1 zone and CR1 zone for joint consideration in this bylaw amendment appears to be an effort motivated by one thing: higher densification of Hunter Hill. And Hunter Hill, which is mentioned in the notification of this meeting. I admired the municipality a couple of years ago, or a number of years ago, when council declined to rezone the Hunter Hill property. The market is now caught up, and the developer was able to see the opportunity as a CR1 zone development, a very good thing. Summerland needs development like that. Then the sewer was extended to the Bentley industrial area, and apparently that too has had some benefit effect on the Hunter Hill development. And then Hunter Hill became a cluster development, where the average lots of all lots of the lots meets the average size meets all the CR1 requirements, although a number of the lots are below the 1 hectare size. With lot prices starting at $300,000 before a house is built, I believe it's doubtful that purchasers of the lots will need a mortgage helper, as suggested in the presentation to council by staff. But if they do, the CR1 zoning already permits B&B or legal suite accommodation on CR1 properties. Since there are 60 lots, presumably there's a potential on that property for 60 carriage homes. The 244-page Hunter Hill development plan, drafted at considerable expense, I'm sure, and presented to the municipality a short time ago, or a year ago, was for 60 homes. But if there potentially is 120 homes, the environmental, traffic, fire, water, sewer, and many other reports contained in that document are immediately outdated. Would there be a revision? In my view, this is a bit of a waste of time for the city to proceed looking at that kind of a development. And in an effort to, and I quote, contribute to the inventory and diversity of housing units in the community, and particularly the rental market. Rather, it appears to be an effort to add value to a development that appears to be proceeding anyway. So my question, I guess, with regards to this, these two particular zoning amendments is why would time be wasted on them? How about a better idea that includes walkability and has a better chance of truly affordable development where it should be in the city core? There's been a couple here tonight, and I would hope that council would advise city staff to perhaps spend more time on the downtown core where density truly belongs. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. For a second time, is there anybody who would like to speak?
Still the first time.
Pardon me?
Still the first time.
Okay, I'm sorry, this is still the first time. Go ahead.
I'm Jessica Nemeth. I'm speaking on behalf of Jim and Jenny Nemeth at 3915 Groucho Road. They're CR1 zoned, and they've owned the property since 1983. We're hoping to be able to build a carriage home and for my family to be able to move on to the lot with them as kind of a succession plan, I guess you could say, or to keep the property and the family and allow my parents to be able to live there as long as they possibly can. And that's why we're in favor of changing the text in the bylaw.
Okay, now I guess I can ask for a second time. Would anybody like to come forward? Seeing no movement, I'll ask for a third time. Would someone like to come and present their views? Okay, thank you. Council can have a motion to adjourn the public hearing, please. Councillor Holmes?
Yeah, move to adjourn public hearing number 4, the zoning text amendment. I'm just moving to adjourn the public hearing number 4.
Still can't hear you.
The zoning amendment, secondary suites and carriage housing bylaw.
Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries, none opposed. Thank you very much. So we're moving on. The public hearings are completed.
Right, so you might want to take a 2-minute break while.
Okay.
Just make it loud and clear.
Yeah, okay, we'll take a 2-minute break for those who wish to leave that have just been involved with the public hearings, if they, unless they wish to hang around, see what's going on.
See how many people are.
Because there may be people out in the hallway that want to come in, so.
It's worth asking. How does that impact change? How would it impact Hunter's Hills? It's a pretty significant change. 60 more or 60 more cars at least, because it'd be a one vehicle build. Yeah, it's worth asking. But the idea of being able to have, like the Nemeths, I mean, there's so many of those in our community, of families that would love to just live like that, you know?
Not really.
My
I
parents
just
need
thought
to
maybe
renovate their
somebody
basement,
might be
but why
able
wouldn't
to
they build a secondary suite and
do
put some people down there to work, that work for us, you know?
But Hunter's Hill isn't something.
It still is, I'm pretty sure.
I know it is. That's all right. See, that's all I'm gonna say. We're in good shape.
Do you really
Especially for
Yeah.
Yeah, the cluster is a special
dear.
thing, but I don't know.
We had a lot of it.
So
I don't
now
know
we
much
have
about it,
to
so.
go into, okay,
All these people are here for the
we've done the adopting the agenda, so we've done the public hearing.
So we have no delegations as well. Time each person for 2 minutes.
Yep, okay. Is that 2? That's it? Popular.
They're okay, yeah, most of them are okay, the ones that are out there are okay to be out there.
Okay.
somebody wanted to give me a T-shirt to give you, but I wouldn't take it.
Wrong side? Or did it have some graffiti on it?
What does it say? What does it say? Summerland, not Summerland or something?
That's probably,
Okay.
Okay, get on with it.
Can you see what the shirt says?
okay, we're gonna move ahead, please. Quiet, everybody, please. It's coming. Thank you. Okay, we have no delegations this evening, is that correct? Nope, no delegations. So we're moving into to item 6, the opportunity for the public to speak. We have 15 minutes allotted, and each speaker has a 2-minute time frame to present their views on any highlighted item in the agenda. So if anybody'd like to come forward, now's the time.
Just on that note, Mr. Mayor, we've had some questions today on why the RDOS organic recycling reconsideration is not highlighted in the agenda. And as it's a reconsideration from the mayor, it's just considered a continuation of the discussion that council had at the last council meeting, so it's not highlighted.
Yes, Kathy Smith, 10695 Aileen Avenue, and I am speaking to staff and other reports 12.1. I have petitions to submit regarding the petition for the RDOS organic recycling. And tonight I'm, where is Mr. Daniger? And our records show, with the photocopies of petition signatures to date, including tonight's, that we now have a total of 694 signed people signing the petition against the RDOS facility. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and elected council officials. Donna Wall, Latimer Avenue. Tonight I present to you a further 92 in-person signatures plus 3 more online signatures against the development of 13610 Banks Crescent. Our current grand total is now 3,106 signatures and counting. These 3,106 signatures are the voices of over 1/3 of the eligible voters of Summerland who are against this proposed megastructure that LARC wants to build in a high-risk location. With the introduction of these smaller developments over the last couple of weeks, of which we've seen tonight too, I believe that council is listening to the people of Summerland, that we need much smaller developments of family affordable housing. I'd like to thank council members for taking their job seriously and for listening to the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? The person's displaying that as a piece of signage. Is that what we do? Sure.
That's fine.
Okay. Anybody else like to speak? No? Looks like we're moving ahead. Thank you very much. Okay, we're moving to my report, which is brief. As you know, under 9.1 of tonight's agenda, I'm bringing forward the matter of the compost proposal again. It is my prerogative to do so. I do not take this lightly and regard the idea of doing so as particularly serious. I've not taken this action so far in the first 3 years of my term as mayor. Before council renders a decision on any topic or issue, I feel strongly that the topic should come with a full staff report plus other relevant information and full discussion by council. In this case, the original motion for site investigation by the RDOS and public consultation was tabled. When the topic came back to the table at our meeting on October 23rd, the issue was rejected, with no reports and no discussion by council on the pros and cons of the issue. I'm simply wanting to discuss the matter and have a decision rendered after careful consideration. That's my report. Thank you. CEO.
Council, I have just a number of short things to report out to you on. Last week, I attended a conference hosted by Asset Management BC. It was actually extremely beneficial to hear examples from colleagues in other municipalities who are moving along with their asset management planning. And it was interesting, the current trends are really moving away from the word asset management. We've had lots of conversation of what does that really mean and how is it part of what we do. And it's really moving into more of the term sustainable service delivery into our everyday work, where if we're introducing a new service or a new facility or a new capital purchase, what the full cycle, what the impact of climate change might have on the operational costs, what the operational costs are, what it's going to take to replace it. So it was actually really quite an interesting couple of days there. We all know that Light Up is coming up in the next week or so, and 10 days. And just to remind council that an extra $10,000 was allocated from the economic development budget to go towards Light Up. These funds will be used or are being used towards a contractor who will oversee traffic control and security. With the increase in attendance at last year's event, it became quite an issue. The Chamber of Commerce is managing that contract, and of course Council and the Chamber of Commerce will evaluate at the end of this year on how that change went and if it made a big difference in traffic movement at the end of the night. Thirdly, the request for proposals document for the business plan for the South Okanagan Agricultural Innovation Center has been issued. The document was written by the District of Summerland's Economic Development Project Manager, Andreas Boehm, and he had really good input and collaboration with the SOCED group. So they worked well together with the province and got that out. So that will be exciting to see who bids on that, the next step of that project. The Arts and Cultural Center renovation project, the RFP, or the request for proposals, will be issued this week for the architectural services to move that project forward. And staff has pretty much finished the document for offer to purchase proposals for Wharton Street, and that should be ready for finalization by the end of this week as well. And that is my report today.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to 9.1. Since I've brought this forward, I'll be reading the background and discussion aspect of this point. So under section 131(1), the mayor may require council to reconsider and vote again on a matter that was the subject of a vote. I'm using my authority under this section of the community charter to bring the subject of the RDOS organic composting site facility back to council for reconsideration, as it is my opinion that debate of the issue included discussion that did not accurately reflect the RDOS request. And by passing the motion to reject, council denied the public due process of understanding the subject, both pros and cons. This council has a solid history of wanting to understand an issue completely before rendering a decision. The motion totally denied the opportunity of a full understanding of the proposed project for all the citizens of Summerland. Council represents all interests in any subject of interest in the community. On the above motion on October 23rd, some of the debate revolved around the thought that council had not received adequate information from the RDOS. The RDOS was following protocol in seeking the opportunity to get more information. This begs the question of why the original motion was not entertained, since its intent was to give the RDOS the ability to investigate the suitability of the site and for the District of Summerland to engage in a public information and consultation process that would have provided a full understanding for both the public and council. And so we're just really reconsidering the actual matter. Did you have some comment on the process at all?
Just that there was some question on if it's the resolution, the motion that was made that's being reconsidered, or the matter of the RWS organic recycling. And it's the matter, it's not necessarily the motion. So once Mayor Waterman introduces his reconsideration, then it's open for discussion from council and consideration of whatever motion council brings forward.
So the previous motion essentially is null and void?
That's right.
That's right. Okay, thank you. Okay, council. Thank you. So council, yes, Councillor Boot, just saying that I guess basically I've laid out my concerns, and I hope we will now have the opportunity to discuss this issue for the benefit of the whole community. Yes, Councillor Boot.
I just have a question about process as well.
Yes.
Sorry, I was not at my mic, and I've had it extended so I don't have to lean into it. I have a question about process. In order for us to have a discussion tonight about this, does there have to be a motion on the table?
Yes.
Yes, certainly clarification questions without a motion, but a motion will need, some motion will have to be brought forward to have debate.
Okay, well, I would like to have a debate, so could I bring this motion forward?
Of course.
I'd like to move that council request more information from the RDOS, and I...
No, I'm sorry, everybody. Please.
And I'd like to speak to this if my motion is seconded.
Okay. Do we have a seconder? Okay, I will second it. So there we go. Okay, the motion is now being seconded. It's on the table. So we now have the ability to
So may I
discuss the
speak?
topic. Yes, Councillor Boot.
Thank you.
I'd ask you, the audience, to please leave this so we can have the discussion. Thank you.
First of all, to my fellow councillors, my motion is not to allow access to the site at this point. My motion is only because I have some questions that I would like to have answered. And the only group that can answer them is the RDOS, not our staff, not anybody here. It's questions that need to be asked of RDOS. When we brought this forward 2 weeks ago, there were at least 2 councillors that stated they did not have enough information on the proposed facility. I'm amongst those. I voted I voted in favor of turning this back to the RDOS. But I have some questions that I would like to have answered, and the only group that can answer them is staff of the RDOS. I don't think that our staff is in a position to answer the questions on behalf of RDOS, not that you're not capable, I'm sure. My number one concern is about the traffic and the traffic safety, and again, only RDOS can answer the questions that I have. Further to that, there is a fair bit of misinformation out there that others have heard. We've heard at the council table, and I would like to hear the facts straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, and have my questions answered. And if they're answered satisfactorily, then we can consider whether or not we'll allow access, and that is a vote of council.
Okay.
Thank you for letting me
Thank
speak.
you. Councillor Peak.
I have a question about process. So I'm not speaking to the object of the motion that's being brought forward. My question is, because of the way this has come back to us through the request from the mayor, which is a prerogative, does that negate the vote that was taken at the last council meeting?
Yes.
It put the matter back on the table, so it negated.
And it negates the vote.
That's right. It put it back on the table and
I
didn't.
understand it went back on the table.
Yeah.
You're telling me it negates the vote.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Anybody else have any points of discussion? Councillor Holmes.
I disagree that we didn't have a discussion of the pros and cons. I think that's exactly what we did last time. I'm not really clear on what grounds you're really asking us to reconsider. You know, to me, it seems it's not because there's new information, but to be able to provide the opportunity for us to receive new information. I think, you know, in principle, this is a bad idea. And getting more information, clarification, consultation, it won't make it a good idea. We'll just have more information on a bad idea. And and why it's a bad idea, I really don't want to have to repeat everything I said at the last meeting, because that's what I was talking. Nothing's going to change. It's the location is the problem, and you know, if you want me to repeat everything, I will, but I really don't have to. I really don't want to have to do that.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Carlson.
So I feel very similar to Councillor Holmes on this. I believe that it would be wonderful to have an organic composting facility in Summerland. Logistically getting to the proposed site, I've been thinking about this ever since it came back to us last week, and the logistics of traffic, no matter which way you look at it, you have to go through our town from any of the access points. And I honestly don't see that being a successful sell to our community, not just the residents of Prairie Valley, but now we're talking about the residents anywhere between the highway and the landfill. And so if there was another alternative site in Summerland where we could start talking about having a compost facility, I think it would be a very worthwhile conversation, but I don't see that logistically it is a very good idea right now.
Councillor Peak. Councillor Peak.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I think that humanity, whether it's Summerland or any other community, has a responsibility to look after its landfill in terms of composting, organic, solid waste, general garbage, all those things, recycling tires, and that we have that responsibility as people who live on the planet. So I realize that there's a responsibility to do this. I don't believe that the responsibility is for us to take it through our community to have it at this site. I think that the RDOS did not communicate well to the whole region about an education process, what they needed, why they needed, and a better opportunity to have that discussion may have brought these things forward from not just our community, but other communities. So it's the fact that it's coming through our community, so whether you're trying to bring the matter back or not, the fact is that the traffic is a problem coming through any community. And our community is the one that we're speaking to, so we don't want to see that happen. And I do not see an opportunity for it to be located somewhere where it would be trafficked without coming through the community.
Okay. Okay, since several matters have been brought up concerning various issues with respect to the project, I feel free to address some of the things for the rationale, not only of bringing the matter back for consideration, but why I actually considered the matter at all in the first place. When sitting on the Regional District Board, the issue's been there for several years where they've examined sites up and down in and around the region to find a suitable site. The criteria that are listed, each box had to be ticked, and Summerland and Marin Valley actually matched up to be the most suitable two sites in the region. And so, excuse me, and so that's one of the reasons. And I actually stood at the board table and said quite emphatically, I'm not interested in bringing this project to Summerland unless you can assure me that things like odor, leachate problems, and traffic can be addressed. Right now at our landfill, we have a leachate problem. We deposit biosolids from our wastewater treatment plant 330 meters away from our balancing reservoir. It sits on the dirt. The windroad material is sitting there for sale. Since it's biosolids, it's very difficult to sell. So it sits there. We continue to monitor for leachate between the landfill and our balancing reservoir. We will always have to do that. The original landfill, the old part of the landfill, has been receiving garbage and kitchen waste for decades. The new section has a liner in it which will help deal with the leachate. But there is absolutely no odor control over our landfill whatsoever. So the proposed facility would be 1.2 kilometers away from our balancing reservoir, behind our landfill, on a flat area up there, which would then remove the biosolids from where we are currently depositing it to a facility that is impervious to leachate getting out into the ground system. The leachate would be collected and recycled into the facility and never leave the facility. Odor is completely controlled. A number of us councillors, yes, true. I'm sorry, I'm not here to argue right now. I'm just presenting my point of view. At any rate, a number of us did visit a facility that was able to address that situation. On the traffic side, I was just as concerned as the rest of you about the residential activity of trucks. My own grandson will be going and using that road in a few short years. And I saw this as an opportunity to address some of the safety issues that exist now on Prairie Valley Road. I would like to see sidewalks right through to Cartwright, both sides of the road, with perhaps a traffic calming in there to ensure the slowdown of traffic. Right now, traffic goes exceedingly fast regardless. And we have gravel trucks, we have all kinds of different trucking using that commerce channel in our community. And I'd like to see the road totally resurfaced with cycling lanes on either side. I put that in my consideration talking to the RDOS. Nobody blinked when I brought those sort of issues up, that if they want to proceed with this, these are the sorts of things that they would have to address. Redoing the road is of considerable cost. We've got ideas, Giant said, for example, will cost us about $6 million. So I saw benefit to bringing it to the community to deal with an existing leachate problem, arresting odor at this point, and dealing with a traffic problem. Obviously, there's some in the community that don't feel that way. But there are a number of people that have come to me in the last few weeks who do feel that this would be an advantage. So, well, they may be. You don't know that, do you? So, well, I'll tell you, I'm not going to get into why they might not speak up. Councillor Booth.
As I mentioned a few minutes ago, I have concerns about the traffic, and there are some questions that I would like to have answered. And this is why I wanted this is why I made the motion. Two of the things that I would like the RDOS to answer, really in plain English terms, are the road safety measures. You spoke specifically about the details of what you would be looking at. I would like to know if this would be a consideration by the RDOS, because if it isn't, then this is a no-go for me. Mm-hmm. Another thing that I would like to get an answer from the RDOS is whether or not there would be a possibility of having a transfer station in Penticton to take care or to reduce the number of trucks that will be making their way to the proposed facility. Because if those trucks are traveling this way, they're going to have to be going through Penticton, and they may as well, if there's a possibility to have a transfer station there, then they could accumulate material and then reduce the number of trucks that are coming here. I don't know if that is something that the RDOS would consider, but we don't know unless we ask.
Yeah, on that, Councillor Boot, I have on a conversation basis raised that. It certainly is something that could be addressed by the RDOS, because Penticton is a focus in terms of where trucks may come from. And to reduce, say, 5 trucks to 1 would make a considerable benefit. Would also make it much more reasonable in terms of, how many trips have to be made in a given day. The other aspect that's completely within the control of the municipality is when the trucks travel. There's no reason why we can't say you can only travel with those garbage trucks between 9 and 2. There's no problem with doing that. It's a contractor, he would have to obey a rule like that. So there's a lot of things to consider, and these are the sorts of things that I feel need to be considered in a discussion. First of all, initiated with the RDOS and bringing initial concerns, and if those concerns are interesting, and we could move forward. But I think the first step has to be some very basic, discussions and questions that can be asked of the RDOS. So that's basically where I have. Any other questions? Councillor Carlson.
I guess my question related to this whole conversation then is, if this has been one of the favorite sites for what, a year now? 6 months? Something like that.
6 months or so.
So in that case, why wouldn't a question like that, the ones that have just been raised as to will there be a transfer station, or is that even an option? And what about the improvement of the road? How much is in the budget to put towards making sure that they can access that safely? Why aren't those things already part of RDOS's thought process? Why did it come up as, why does that have to come forward later once we've talked about it, if they've already said, well, we want Summerland, without giving us all that information that might be much more useful and less cumbersome now that it's come back again?
I think. Sorry, Councillor Booth, go ahead.
I think that you've made my point, Councillor Carlson. Those questions haven't been answered. The reason I think they haven't been answered is because they're still waiting to hear if they can even get on site. Well, I guess it depends what happens tonight. They're still waiting to hear if they can get on site. There's no sense in doing all of that if there's not any chance of moving forward.
See, but that's where I would disagree, because I think that if you're going to bring forward a proposal to do something, we need at least that, now that it's come up as a really difficult decision, to have that understanding of
so why don't you want to ask those questions?
I want to know. Well,
then?
is why?
Because I want to ask the questions.
But why didn't they come forward and say Summerland is our choice, and they came forward and said that, there'll be up to 25 trucks one direction. Well, okay, how much money is the RDOS willing to put into the road construction, regardless of where the facility is? It doesn't matter if they chose Summerland or Marin Valley or Oliver or whatever. How much money do they want to put towards that? Do they know? Is it up to us to sit here and wait for them to figure out how much money they have for it? I really don't think it is, if they've been going through this process for so long.
Okay, I think I'm going to jump in, Councillor Boot, because in actual fact, the RDOS was following the process that they initiated when the decision to decide between, say, Marin Valley and Summerland was made, was it early this summer, I believe, and then it had to come to us as the site that was preferred out of the number of sites. And before they could deal with any specifics with regard to our site, the location and various aspects that might be of concern, they felt they had to get access to determine whether the site was actually that suitable or not in terms of on-site information, geology reports, various aspects of whether they can construct a building there or not in terms of answering that question. They could easily have said, we're sorry, Summerland, but you know, we've done the investigations and we find the site is not suitable for us, and we'll have to go back. But in terms of the information, we came to, the issue essentially came to us, and we decided to table the issue back in August for a couple of months till everybody could be here to make the decision. So we did have a hiatus to, in terms of, you know, being able to discuss it. So the issue was tabled, and we actually couldn't discuss it during that time frame. So there's been some hitches, and I also agree with you to some extent. I think the RDUS could have done a hell of a lot better job in how they approached it. But that doesn't mean that, you know, we can't ask for information to be presented to us now to have the conversation and to go through the determinations. Because the aspects that you're talking about with potential road costs and so on, I think are easily within the purview of a discussion and up for negotiation. Go ahead. Yeah.
Just a little further to that, there was a really long list of initial locations, and Summerland happens to get to the top of that list as the most suitable. However, we don't know anything about whether or not it's suitable, and so I don't know. It doesn't make sense. That's the whole conversation.
There's basic criteria, but the actual on-site details had to be determined by the RDOS staff and engineering. Sorry. Okay, sorry, I leaned away from the microphone. I should have said that, you know, those were broad brushes. We're looking at the kind of detail that is required by the RDOS is on-site engineering investigations to see whether they would actually need or be able to move forward in the specifics of the site. There's lots of merit around the location, the fact that it's already, there's a landfill there, there's other aspects to it. There isn't a zoning requirement with it. It's already zoned industrial. There's no land to be bought by the RDOS. It would be a lease arrangement. And so those are some of the things we do know, but the discussion really in terms of the merits, both pros and cons, we really haven't had the opportunity for that discussion. And really that's all we're asking. It's not a commitment by the RDOS at this point. It's strictly to go for a preamble discussion and decide whether we are interested enough to allow them to do the investigations, et cetera, that were addressed in the first motion on the 23rd. Councillor Traynor.
I appreciated the discussion that we had at our last meeting.
Can you, sorry.
I gave a huge amount of thought to this topic, and I've considered the pros and cons with the information that I have to date, and I feel confident with my vote that I made on October 23rd. I have concerns about the odor, traffic, as well as future operations and control. From what I understand, the RDOS has moved on now to investigate another location in Oliver. And a few months ago, when I spoke with Bill Newell, the CAO of the RDOS, he said that if we did say no, that it was just business and that the RDOS would move on. I have full confidence that the RDOS will find a suitable location. These things take a lot of time sometimes, a lot of consultation and lessons learned. And I think they will find a location, and when they do, that Summerland and all the municipalities in the South Okanagan will benefit.
Okay, in sort of direct response, in actual fact, the RDOS board has not considered another location yet. The decision after this evening, well, they'll have to look at that list again and see what location is going to be suitable. It has not come back to the board. No, it has not come back to the board. I'm sorry, I sit on the board, I know whether it's been there or not.
It wasn't.
Anyway, Councillor Holmes.
I think if the RDOS's criteria is included that the trucks can't go through any town, if that was one of those boxes that needed to be ticked, as you mentioned, then Summerland wouldn't have been found to be a suitable site at all. And maybe that wasn't RDOS's criteria, but it's certainly one of my criterias. And there's just no way you can get around that. I don't think it should go through anybody's town. These things should not be located in a place where you have to drive through a town, and it's not necessary. And if the original motion that we passed, it doesn't say that we're not interested in exploring a compost site. It just says we're not interested in exploring the compost site at the Summerland landfill. You know, so that's, we're not saying. We're not telling the RDC we're not interested. We're just not interested there, you know. And for me, I'm not interested in anything that has to come through a town. It's as simple as that. I don't know how make it any more clear.
Okay, Councillor Peak.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the reasons that you felt you wanted to bring it back for discussion. I have sat at a regional district. I think there could have been a better process. I think that the reasons and the ways that they looked at how they would find what they were looking for could have had a different list, a different descriptor. I just feel that our community does not need to have this kind of traffic through it to get to a site.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think we're ready. Okay, are we ready for a vote? Are we clear on what we're voting for now? Would you like to repeat the motion that we have?
So the motion that I have is that council request more information from the regional district of Oak.
Folks, that's not how it works.
That council request more information from the regional district of Okanagan-Similkameen regarding the proposed RDOS compost facility.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all in favor?
We don't have a seconder.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't follow
All in
that.
favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you very much. The motion is defeated. Thank you. Let's move on.
Do we need to make a new motion?
So would you like, Councillor Holmes, would you like?
I'd like to make a motion, the original motion that we made to at the last council meeting, that the regional district of Okanagan-Similkameen be informed that the District of Summerland Council is not interested in exploring the Summerland landfill site for the proposed compost facility any further.
I will second that.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Peak. Order, please.
I will second that motion.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Okay, the motion carries.
Hold on for a second.
Yep.
Where'd they all come from? I see 4 of them. 6 in total that I've seen tonight.
Ridiculous. It is a business meeting. These guys are not acceptable.
Okay, everybody, I'd ask you to move out orderly, please. We have to continue with our meeting.
Linda, there's like 7 people under 50 in the chamber tonight. They're not awesome candidates.
It's gonna take a couple of minutes. It's tight.
Ian's first council meeting since being retired.
Every year we have to have one of those George things for the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. You could answer lots of questions more for people.
I think that I'm gonna close that door. Do you think?
Only it's a closed meeting.
No, they can still come in and out.
Or
I'm
in
just
terms
trying
of
to
the
block
noise.
out the
In
noise.
terms of the noise. It'll
Because
dissipate.
sometimes they hang around in the
It'll dissipate
hallway.
maybe. I think it's pretty. Okay, council, so we'll carry on. To 10.1, information items. Is there anything in correspondence that anybody would like to bring forward? Councillor Peak.
Yes, there's a.
Oh, can't hear you over here. Can't hear you at all.
Can't hear you at all.
I turned me
Councillor
off.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the skateboard park, the letter regarding the skateboard park, and I see that there may be an opportunity in that response from the minister where we could look for some funding through some of the grants that are possible because we see that the skateboard park would be a good amenity for our community to have for the youth, and the location is a great one, so I'm wondering if we can direct staff to look at the possibility of funding through grants.
Thank you. Address that.
We have been, right now, none of the federal grant programs are released yet. We know that in the new budget that they will, recreation and sports are going to be a priority, but we are actively working with the skateboard park to identify any grants that do come available that they may fit in.
Very good. And if I may, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'm speaking again to another letter of correspondence. It's the Open for Business Awards nomination process. And realizing that we are going to do a downtown plan, I think that this is something after we have our discussions on the downtown plan and we look for the opportunity to do some very good work within the downtown, that this is an awards process that we could look forward to making a submission on. Because I think that Summerland has a lot of great ideas that will come forward through that downtown plan.
Sure.
And if I may, there's one other thing. There's the Ministry of Tourism and Arts and Culture and the letter from the Honorable Lisa Baer. And there's an opportunity there for heritage funding for the KVR, the infrastructure possibilities, and as a liaison for that particular committee, I'm asking that perhaps Angelique, as our community coordinator, could have some discussions with the KVR around that.
And she has been, yes.
Thank you very kindly.
Okay. Is there anything else? Okay, could we have a motion to receive, please? Or a resolution to thank you, Councillor
I'll
Peak.
bring the motion to receive forward.
Seconder, please. Councillor Carlson, thank you. All in favor? It's carried. And opposed, thank you very much. There's no development services reports, so we're moving into staff and other reports. Okay, 12.1. The petition regarding recycling.
Can I just move a motion?
Yeah,
Yes.
just move a motion.
Yeah,
I'll
okay.
move that the petition regarding the regional compost facility provided to the district on the 23rd of October be received by council.
Okay, thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Peak, thank you. All in favor? Motion carries, none opposed, thank you very much. Okay, moving on to 12.2, FCM's Climate and Asset Management Network.
Council, this is a report for information, as it's noted there. The timelines for this FCM Climate and Asset Management Network, since they notified that we were successful and since things got really underway, was really short, and we didn't have the opportunity to inform council that we were successful on it, even though we have 3 of our managers in Ottawa as we speak, attending the first session, funded through this grant. It's a wonderful opportunity. Like I say, the effect of climate change on asset management is really becoming a part of asset management now. There's 19 municipalities across Canada that are participating in this network, so Summerland's really fortunate. The exposure that Tammy and David and Chris are going to be having with the other municipalities such as Edmonton and some other smaller ones across Canada is going to be invaluable as we move forward. So this is just to let you know that we were successful.
Okay. Councillor Peak?
I make note in the report that there's contribution required through us, and if you could speak to that.
Originally, when council passed a resolution to make the application, we noted that there was the portion that, was it 19,000, 16,000 that we needed to, or I'm sorry, 13,000 that we needed to contribute. A lot of that can be in kind, but it was going to, because this particular one, it can be stackable, it was going to come from our gas tax funds. But as you'll see on our next item, when I was in Vancouver at the Asset Management Conference last week, they noted that there was a program that we didn't even really realize was out, that the closing date was that date to get an application in. So we quickly got an application into that one for that balance.
I think that's marvelous. Thank you very much. Stackability doesn't always occur, and this is a nice opportunity.
Councillor Carlson.
I will move the motion that FCM's Climate and Asset Management Network Application Update Staff Report, November 24th, 2017, from the Sustainability and Alternative Energy Coordinator be received for information.
Thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Trainer. Thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor
Just
Carlson.
a note that it seems like a really worthwhile project, and I think it's great that Summerland is part of a select group that will be working towards such an important asset in all of, like, it's worldwide sustainability, and this is kind of a neat thing to be participating in. So I hope it goes really well, and I look forward to hearing about some of the outcomes.
Councillor Peak.
Yes, I'd like to thank the mayor for attending the FCM. I think that was an initiating point, and I'm very pleased that we have the sustainability staff on site to be working on this.
Yeah, thank you. I guess, having been at the FCM, several times over the years, but the networking that can occur with staff is going to be fantastic, especially with meeting, the other communities and so on. And, I have to say it a lot of times at these meetings, it's those contacts that prove invaluable over time. I know Tammy's turning out to be a real leader in this area of renewable energy and so on, so it's going to be worthwhile. So we've got a mover and seconder, haven't we?
Yes, we did.
Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. None opposed. Thank you very much. We're moving on to 12.3.
So 12.3, Council, I mentioned that we had became aware of this planning program grant that was available for our matching funds so that we wouldn't have to use any of our gas tax funds to go through this. But the deadline was on Friday. So when I was in Vancouver and phoned staff and asked if they would be able to put something together and get it submitted, one of the requirements is a council resolution. So we submitted the application with a notation that it wouldn't be considered unless council was to endorse it with a resolution tonight. So if you do endorse it, for this planning grant, then we would just forward it to them tomorrow. So, and I just wanted to note, one of the reasons that this whole program is so important is it's one thing to get the numbers back from our asset management project that we're doing, but learning to incorporate it in the work that every single staff member does is a difficult thing. Just learning to understand, and that's why there's 3 of them at this meeting too, because it's good that we have sustainability coordinator, but it affects engineering and finance and development services, and it needs to be incorporated in everything that we do.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Peak.
Could I bring the motion forward?
Yes, of course.
And I'll just highlight it. It's an application to the Union of BC Municipalities Asset Management Planning Program for $15,000 to fund the integration of climate adaptation into the District of Summerland's asset management plan, that it be supported and the district provide overall grant management for the climate and asset management integration project.
Thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Booth, thank you. Any further discussion at all? Good. All in favor? Motion carries. None opposed. Thank you very much. 12.1. I guess that's... 12.4. I'm sorry.
Mr. Strachan.
Mr. Strachan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we have an update report on the Banks Crescent project application, an OCP amendment rezoning. The update includes 3 components, one being an update on the aquifer protection strategy, the third-party review. So staff have engaged an engineering firm to undertake that third-party review. We have a schedule from them. At this point, it's proposed to come back in mid-September with that review.
September?
December.
December.
Wow, I lost a couple of months. Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah, I'd like to go back there too. It's a lot warmer.
Mid-December, excuse me, is when they're proposing to have that completed this time. We've requested that they provide any notification if that timeline changes. So we are hoping to bring that back to council for the December 11th council meeting. The second item is related to two letters that we've received from the applicant. One is an update on their efforts to engage the public. The second is a letter requesting council consider a public hearing be scheduled this evening. So that request is in your package. If council were to schedule the public hearing, similar to the request that we received this summer, we would ask the council not set a specific date, but instead give staff direction to schedule it as soon as the facility and the notifications can be undertaken. So when we could get a facility large enough to accommodate the people that we expect to attend, as well as get notifications out in the newspaper and the letters out. So that's what we brought forward there. The third item is a summary that we've received from the Director of Engineering and Public Works. Chris Johnson has provided a summary of the October 25th council meeting, Committee of the Whole, the workshop that took place. And within there's a number of components. The main component being a breakdown of how the different works and infrastructure pieces work. We received a number of studies. Those studies have now are now in the process of going back to the applicant. And so there's additional information within there, especially particularly around the DCCs as well as around direct offsite and amenity contributions. As noted in the report, the discussions around amenity contributions are ongoing, and staff are here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, council, have you got any questions, Mr. Strachan? Councillor Peak.
Yes, if I may. Mr. Strachan, there's been questions brought to me in terms of how we make the choice for the third-party review, and if you could give me some idea of that, because there seems to be some suspicion about how we actually make that decision and that we may be biased in making the decision.
So we look for a firm that operates in the region who has the professionals involved in those specific areas. We contact the firm. In this case, we contacted their operations. They selected an engineer who responded, and then a senior engineer as well to review what's proposed, and they are assigning the appropriate engineers to the file. We're not aware at this point who those specific engineers are. We don't select the individuals within the firm. We put it to them. We provide the criteria that we're looking at as well as the information, and we allow them to assign the appropriate professionals to that. And as they do their review, they may engage other professionals within their organization to also participate. But at this point, that's the process we're following.
Thank you. I really appreciate that clarification.
Thank you. Any other questions, Mr. Strachan? Councillor Holmes.
Okay, I appreciate the Director of Public Works isn't here, but I have some questions on the infrastructure impacts report. When we discussed this at the Committee of the Whole last time, one of the things I was asking about was the peak load for the electrical being 4.1 megawatts, and I was wondering at the time what impact that'll have on our wholesale price that we pay Fortis. And I believe the CAO said you would check that out. I would kind of like to see what the math is on that.
And that will come when we'll do an updated report with any outstanding information that council asking for when Mr. Johnson is here next time. We've had discussions on that, but he didn't. We didn't bring it forward today.
Oh, okay.
But it will still come. We have that noted that that's a question.
Thank you. Can I have a couple more? If that's
Go
all right?
ahead,
Yeah.
sure, of course.
On the roads, I would somebody be able to explain to me how it was decided that only the top portion of Solly and the east portion of Latimer would be requiring upgrades, and how why wasn't the rest of Solly taken into account for that? And how is it decided that Gillespie and McDonald Street also wouldn't require upgrades? And even, Latimer north of Sully to Peach Orchard, for that matter, given that traffic northbound will probably go that way from the resort. And I think all these will be impacted, and upgrades, might need to be considered, which should be included in the DCCs. So my question is just, how was it decided that just those two strips of road would be the ones?
And so this is certainly, and Mr. Strachan might add something more as well, but this report are staff recommendations and staff's notations from most of this is geared from Chris Johnson as our engineer, and certainly council, it is expected that council would on any given number of things send it back and ask either for more information or that they would want more added. Did you have something, Mr. Strachan?
Just the traffic reporting that came out from the traffic engineers identified which roadways would require upgrades, and that was reviewed by our city engineer, as well as he had some assistance from a third-party engineer on the traffic components. So these were the roadways that came through that review as being identified as requiring upgrade to collector status in order to carry the loads anticipated. The loads anticipated on the other roadways didn't carry it to a new classification of road. Although there's additional loads that are anticipated to go on that roadways, the numbers that were produced in the reporting didn't indicate that those roadways would require significant or major upgrades.
Okay, I guess I have a question, Mr. Strachan. Are you okay, Councillor Holmes?
Yeah, I'll come back later.
Okay. Just on the upgrade to Solly, and perhaps I need to leave this for Mr. Johnson, but where did you see in this report that it was only a portion of Solly? Are we talking from sort of Latimer up, or is
It's
that?
on the top of the second page.
Pardon me?
It's in the report.
So I'm not seeing it in the text in here. What page are you on? 78?
It's on page 78. It's the same, that's the same
Yeah,
report.
I'm
Oh.
not seeing it, I'm sorry.
So he says what Mr. Johnson reported, reconstruction of approximately 700 meters of Solly Road and
Okay.
300 meters of Latimer Avenue to collected road standards should be considered.
Okay, so where does that 700 meters take us? That's almost 3/4 of a kilometer there.
Oh.
The highway to Latimer.
Pardon me?
It's the highway to Latimer.
Okay, that's what I thought, yeah, okay. I guess I was inferring from what you were saying that it was a portion of it further up, and I didn't have that clear, so. Okay, thank you, Mr. Strachan. Anybody else? Any other questions of Mr. Strachan? Okay,
Yeah, I have a question over here.
oh, you had a question? Oh, Councillor Peak, I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you very kindly. When I look at I have page numbers, so page 77, and I'm looking at the sewer DCs, and it speaks to the wastewater master plan update and determination of to add any additional projects and adjust the DCC rates accordingly. I'm wondering if we have an estimated time frame for the completion of the water master plan, or if Dean or Chris would have further comments on this, because I would be interested in more information.
So the wastewater master plan is being completed as part of the asset management project that we have going. This is anecdotal to this particular application, as you know, but that'll be done in the early 2018 when the asset management plan is done, and then it'll come forward to that at that point in time. And the reason we're able to do that update at that time, because you'll have the information on where this should be expanded to.
Okay, so the opportunity for the flow and information, further information on this would then be a possibility
At that time.
Thank you.
Councillor Traynor.
I just had a question about the final negotiated proposal for amenity contributions. Where are we at with that? And it says here you expect that to be done in mid-December. Is that still correct?
We need to have further discussions with council, of course. The initial is essentially what was presented to council at the October 25th.
Okay.
And then we've begun discussions around the parameters of that, and then we'll bring back a proposal back to council for further consideration.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Peak?
If I might, as an adjunct to Councillor Trainor's remarks, part of the amenity discussion was a stairwell that would go over the right-of-way in between. Is this a time that we would discuss that, or would we wait till it comes back to us, Dean?
This is that's a part of the amenity contributions originally proposed. So it represents part of the negotiations that are ongoing and may come back to council, or would come back to council for consideration. You'll have the original proposal presented to you as well as the new one. Staff have already indicated concerns with the staircase, and that was presented to council earlier this year, constructing a wood staircase and some of the issues associated with that. The developer has responded that they would be looking at that again as an option. Whether that comes in their new proposal or not is going to be up to the developer.
Thank you, because that I do have concerns about the maintenance of something like that, and the idea of doing underground electrical, changing poles to underground is another thing. I don't know that it's a great advantage, and therefore I'm interested in how that discussion goes as well.
Thank you. I think it's there are interesting aspects. The staircase ideas, I thought we had kind of looked at that as a amenity contribution that may be best used, and the money used in another way, I don't know. But the aspect of moving power poles and so on underground, I thought would be an improvement for the landscape in the area. So that's something I would look forward to. Councillor Boot, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
I would like to move that the OCP amendment and rezoning applications for our district file number 2016-1787 for 13610 Banks Crescent be denied. And I'd like to speak to this motion if it is seconded.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have a seconder?
Could you repeat that?
I would like to make the motion that the OCP amendment and rezoning applications, district file number 2016-1787 for 13610 Banks Crescent be denied.
So not just this information, is that?
The talking about the whole project.
The application, the complete.
Be denied.
The whole project.
You could do that?
I don't know.
You can do anything you want.
Guess so.
I'll second.
May I
So-
speak to that, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, of course.
The reason I brought this forward is there are two reasons. I am philosophically opposed to this development. I think it's the wrong development, and I think it's in the wrong location. And the second reason is I don't know how the rest of council is feeling, although perhaps having it seconded by Councillor Holmes is some indication anyways. I have read the information, the letter that we got from LARC Group, and in it they state, they don't give figures, but they state how much money they have spent already on this development application. Sorry, it's not even a development application at this point for moving forward on this application for OCP amendment and rezoning. And I don't think it's fair of me, I can only speak for myself, I don't think it's fair of me to go on with receiving more information when and expecting the LARC group to continue to shell out money if I am opposed to this development, and I am opposed to it. Thank you.
Councillor Holmes.
The motion kind of caught me by surprise, but I don't disagree with it. I think we need to recognize that all our requests for further information that we've been asking for, none of them have really been ever fully met. We always have more. We never quite get what we want. We always they just create more questions. And every report that we get, it's always disappointing, the brevity of these reports. And you really, I don't think we have a whole lot more information today than we had 1 year ago. And I think we need to recognize that if we do move forward to a public hearing stage, we're going to do so without the information that we're asking for. I don't think it's possible to get the I don't think it's possible for staff or LARC group to provide the information that we're asking for. And so I think we need to recognize that. I think everybody needs to be prepared for that. If we do move to a public hearing stage, that we're not going to have that information. The public won't have that information, and we won't have that information that we'll need to make the decision that, you know, and we'll be waiting forever for this information that we'll never get.
Councillor Peak.
I would have great difficulty denying this proposal at this stage in the game. I think there is a process involved when you invite people to make applications into your municipality, and I do believe in the process. I do not think that I have enough information to make this kind of a decision this evening. I think that council has made premature decisions in the past on things, and in the time that I've been on this council. And I would be greatly disappointed if we sent this kind of message out to developers that having initiated the development opportunity, that we have not done the process and completed it and gone to the public hearing. I think that would be a disappointment to our community as a whole, because as we've known in the past, you get some people that are very vocal about their particular opinions, and you get others that don't wish to come forward and look at other sides of it, to speak to it in a proactive forum. And I think that we need to, as the people that are leaders in our community, allow the process and depend on that process to bring those topics, the information, the possibilities, and the discussion forward to completion.
Okay. Thank you. Just before I entertain Councillor Traynor, I think what I realize, and it's taken me a long time over the time I've been involved in council issues, and you know, my initiation was back in 2003 when we were dealing with some heavy issues as a community, and then got involved on council. When you start dealing with what amounts to a comprehensive development like this, and it is a big project, it's very involved, very complex. A lot of complex answers are required. Complex questions have been posed, and engineering reviews, etc., are not done overnight. They also have to be done in conjunction with other work that everybody's conducting. So there's a number of issues that the community is moving forward on. As you heard from our CAO a little earlier, you know, we are addressing things like grants and so on as we move forward on these other projects. So it is a complex issue, and I agree with you, Councillor Peak, that it needs to be fully addressed. We're, I believe, very close, and I'm looking forward to the third-party review to see what comes of that. I was very pleased with what occurred at the October 25th meeting, where we addressed the dollar values, et cetera, of a lot of the aspects of the project. So I really do think we have moved a long ways, and we're very close to making and having the full information towards being able to, you know, address a public hearing. Councillor Traynor.
I think that I agree with what Councillor Holmes said, and I do think that we need to go to public hearing as soon as we can. We've ordered the Aquifer Protection Strategy third-party review, so I think that it's worthwhile to see that since it's been ordered. And also, I really believe that Councillor Barkwell should be here as well to make the decision, so I think he needs to be here, and I think we need to go to the public hearing because it has been a very long road, but we're almost there, and I think the public hearing is really important.
Thank you, Councillor Trainer. Councillor Carlson.
I'll weigh in as well. So my first thought on this is that there's a third-party review being done right now, and it's going to answer some questions. And if it doesn't, then I guess we have every right to bring forward this motion, and it won't be a blindsiding the developer, because they will see that information has been brought forward, and there may be some further discussion around it. We've asked for reassurance and security for the trout hatchery, and that's our way. My understanding is that a third-party review is our way of finding out if that water source will be protected and remain protected. So even if this proposal didn't go forward, that information would still be very valuable for maybe a revised proposal or something else into the future. And so I do think that there's that component to it, but I believe that we've been doing this for 18 months or something like that, and it's a long time and it's a long haul, but I do think that without giving it its final hurrah at the end with this third-party report and with some more information coming from Public Works over the next month, we owe it to everybody to make sure that we have that and that we follow through properly. We have been telling the proponent to follow process, and we've been telling the public that we're trying to follow process, and so I think that we should let that process finish because I do believe that it's getting quite close.
Councillor Peak.
If I may too, in terms of the length of time, after more than 22 years of service to communities, these kind of applications do take a long time. And I know it can be difficult for the community and for council, but I think it's important to work your process properly and fully.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Councillor Boot.
I just wanted to counteract something that Councillor Carlson just said, and that is I believe I do have the right to make the motion.
Oh, not that you don't have it.
Yeah, but those are the words that you used, that after we examine the third-party review, then perhaps councillors have the right to bring that motion forward. I would like to suggest that I do have the right to bring the motion forward as I brought it forward tonight.
Wasn't intended that it wasn't allowed. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. I think some good points have been brought up, and I think the whole idea of a public hearing is to have that get together once this information is available. And I think that's the purpose of the public hearing, is to say, okay, we've now brought the information together, everything that we need to make a consideration. And that's the purpose, and I believe we're quite close to doing that. And in my experience, as Councillor Peak has just addressed, these are not easy to do. They're not easy for the public. They're certainly not easy for council. And it's been something that we've all been working on for quite some time. And I would like to see us move through to the public hearing. And so anyway, that's my comments. Are we any further points of discussion? Are we ready for a vote on the motion that's being presented? So do we need the motion read again, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the motion is that the OCP amendment and rezoning applications, district file number 2016-1787 for 13610 Banks Crescent be denied.
Okay, yes.
Could I ask for a recorded vote?
Yep, okay. Okay, all in favor of the motion to deny the project? Okay, 2 in favor. Opposed? Thank you. The motion is defeated. Thank you. Carrying on now to new business, 13.1.
Could I just
Oh, I'm
ask
sorry.
one other thing?
Oh, I'm sorry.
In the staff report and in their letter to LARC Group to us, they asked if we would set a date for a public hearing tonight. I think we need to address that. Do we
Okay.
not?
We don't have to, but we could.
It's up to council to determine if you want to address it tonight, if you want to just say that you don't have enough information, or that you do want to set a date one way or another. You
Okay,
should probably discuss it.
So direction, at least.
Would, there's only one meeting in December, is that correct, on the 11th?
Right.
And then everything shuts down on the 21st? Do we know? I'm just wondering if between the meeting and Christmas would be appropriate once we have the information on the 11th of December, or if it needs to be a New Year's project based on who is around and what kind of Christmas stress do people
That
want
may
to
be the
have.
difficulty.
A New Year's resolution of sorts.
Councillor Holm. Councillor Holm.
I think until we see a third-party review, I think it's premature to
So it's January.
to start talking about dates for
Okay.
our public review, public hearing.
Councillor Peak.
I think the discussion we've had in the past, which is the direction that when we have the information that we need, that staff can go ahead and set the date. So I don't think we need to set a date at this point.
Okay, thank you. So we've got enough direction. Councillor Trainer.
I'm just throwing this out there, though. What Councillor Holmes had brought up before is we might never have enough information. Like, we'll get back the third-party review and maybe a final couple reports, but I'm just wondering if maybe there is value in setting a date so that everybody knows, in January or early February. I'm just throwing that out there.
Councillor Holmes. Sorry, thank you.
Because what if the third-party review comes back and says, we can't guarantee anything for the trout hatchery? What
That's the,
But
then
that's
you
the-
cancel
that's
your
the
date.
answer.
That's the
then.
crux of things
Right.
in terms of the
So
information.
why set a date
Pardon me?
until we have it?
I don't see the point in setting the date. I think we get our third-party review, then we do what we do.
Thank you. Councillor Carlson.
I'd like to move that the update report dated November 10th, 2017 from Director of Development Services in relation to OCP amendment and rezoning for 13610 Banks Crescent be received.
Seconder, Councillor Peak, thank you. Any further discussion? I don't think so. All in favor? Thank you. The motion carries. None opposed. Sorry to jump the gun there, Council. I was getting ahead of myself before. 13.1. Is that Mr. Strachan? Mr. Strachan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As noted, we have a rezoning application for 523 Stoner Street. The application is in order to allow for the subdivision of the property into 2 lots. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Okay. Questions of Mr. Strachan? I need a little help here. I need a little help. Okay, Councillor Peak, okay.
Yes, if I may, there's a portion of the report that speaks to water modeling and the presence of a 4-inch water main. How are these items addressed, and is there a cost to the applicant?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The water modeling would take place as a part of the subdivision, should it go forward at that point, and it would be up to the applicant to provide adequate servicing. So it would be a cost to the applicant at the time of subdivision, so they wouldn't be a form part of the rezoning, but would come forward if they proceed to subdivision of the land.
Thank you, and if I may, a second question. The following paragraph, which speaks to road or road infrastructure, when does that occur as well?
The off-site works, including road works, would take place at subdivision, as well as any dedication of roadway. So you'll note in the air photo, there's a portion of the adjacent roadway on Woods Avenue, which has not been dedicated. That comes forward as part of the subdivision process, should it go forward to that process.
Yes, Councillor Peak.
I'll bring the resolution forward.
Okay, thank you.
For 523 Stoner Street, to rezone the subject property from RSD3 to residential estate lot zone RSD1, and that a public hearing be scheduled for January 8th to receive public feedback on the bylaw.
Okay, seconder, please. Councillor Holmes, thank you. Any further discussion?
I just have one question.
Councillor Blue.
It says in the report that the application was circulated to neighboring properties. Did we get anything back from any of the property owners near the site? Any yays or nays?
It will be circulated, so should it go forward,
Yeah.
it will be circulated to adjacent property owners within 30 meters.
Oh, I'm sorry. I saw that, and I saw the application has been circulated to others. Yeah, sorry.
And
Sorry,
that'll
misread
become
that.
relevant at the public hearing.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, we have a seconder?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor? Motion carries, thank you. Moving on to 14.1. Is that right? 13.2, I'm sorry. Jumping ahead on this computer here. Mr. Strachan.
Mr. Mayor, we have a rezoning application for 905 Wharf Street. This rezoning application is also to allow for subdivision of the property. The applicant is wishing to subdivide the property into 2 lots. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Questions of Mr. Strachan? Councillor Peak.
Yes, if I may, it speaks to the District Works and Utilities has noted the road dedication and frontage improvements, including curb, gutter, and drainage would need to be required, and the cost of a new sewer system. Could you explain what dewatering is?
So when they do excavations to put in servicing, excuse me, the water table can be quite high in this area. So dewatering is to remove the water from the hole to do their work. So that can be quite costly because you're pumping to keep up with groundwater.
Okay, and again, when would this occur in the discussion?
It would come forward as part of the subdivision. It wouldn't form part of the rezoning. If they came forward, council were to approve the rezoning as a part of the subdivision process. They're required to service the new lot, and this is where that would come in as part of servicing.
Thank you, and if I may, Mr. Mayor, another question I would have, is this kind of discussion, has this been had with the person making the application already, or does it come as a surprise as part of this report and then goes back to the person making the application?
The reports go back to the applicant in advance of it coming to council. As noted, this would be an item that would come up as part of the subdivision, should that go forward. And there could be additional works required once you get detailed engineering completed.
Okay, thank you very kindly.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, would someone like to bring a motion forward, please? Councillor Peak.
The zoning bylaw amendment for 905 Wharf Street for subject a rezoning from RSD3 residential estate lot zone to RSD2 residential large lot zone be introduced, and that a public hearing be scheduled for December 11th.
First and second reading.
And first and second.
First and second.
Yeah. Okay, that's part of the first section, so you got that?
Yeah.
Okay, seconded?
I just have a quick question. This
Speak up.
one, the public hearing is scheduled for December 11th, but the one previous was scheduled for January 8th. Was there a reason for that?
Mr. Strachan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It was when the applicant was available.
Oh,
So
okay.
the applicant wasn't available to be here in December, so they
Okay.
requested that it be scheduled in the new year.
Okay,
Okay, pardon me?
I'll second
Yeah,
it.
we also need a seconder.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Trainer. Okay, any further discussion? Okay. All in favor? Motion carries, thank you. And opposed? Going ahead to 13 or 14.1? 14.1. Mr. Strachan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is the bylaw component following the public hearings, and the first one is related to the OCP and rezoning bylaws for 5418 Nixon Road. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Just a note for council, if this is brought forward in the case that you do want to proceed. There's no, you don't always proceed with a bylaw the same day after a public hearing, but there's no reason not to do the consideration, but just to be aware.
Okay. So did you understand that? Art?
Just if you wanted any more, if you didn't feel, if you felt that you needed more time, you can't get any new information between now and, but at times when it's a larger, this isn't a particular big one necessarily, but there's times that council wants a council meeting in between, so.
It is also relatively normal to proceed as well, either way, yeah. Councillor Carlson and then
So a whole bunch of questions were raised. Can we pose some of those and get some answers?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so, I'm gonna start with, will carriage homes be allowed in this zoning? And,
Sorry, did you have a second part? Sorry.
no, that's okay.
Oh.
I think, and, yeah, that's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Yes, so the zoning district would allow for carriage homes, so they could have carriage homes on the property. So it was discussed previously with council, though, because the lot sizes are smaller, in order to have a carriage home, you still have to meet the site coverage requirements, as well as access, because there isn't a proposed lane. So you'd have to shrink the house significantly in order to have a carriage house and still meet the requirements. So the actual building mass on the property wouldn't be significantly different. It would just be configured in a different format.
Okay, and how does, to follow that, how does parking then get impacted? There's certain number of parking spaces that must be allowed for a home. If you add a carriage house to, all of a sudden you need more parking. Is that another consideration that might be detrimental to adding a carriage home to such a lot?
For an individual, certainly, you'd have to provide additional parking stall, but by definition, a carriage house is actually an accessory building with a garage on the main floor. Normally, to get the size of secondary suite above it, you would have a two-car garage. So there would be parking stalls as well as a driveway that goes to the rear of the property, because it doesn't have a lane. It would have to go through to the rear of the property. So normally in that configuration, you would see stalls for the house as well as the carriage house. So parking would be adequate. It would be required anyways as a component of getting a building permit. You would have to demonstrate the parking access.
Thank you.
So I have just a quick question actually related to that. So the percentage of the lot covered has to be the same, whether it's if it's just one house. If you have a carriage home, then the total coverage would have to still meet the requirement. Is that what you're saying?
The 40% site coverage maximum still
Okay,
has
so
to be
it
met.
couldn't go any more. So in other words, you made the comment that if they were thinking of that, they'd have to be thinking of it ahead of time in order to have a small enough house to allow the percent coverage to include the carriage home.
It would be critical because you would
Yeah.
need to have a minimum 3 to 3.5 meter side yard setback, excuse me, in order to have a driveway access that goes to the rear yard. So if you build to the 1.5 meters, which is the minimum, you wouldn't have direct vehicle access to the rear of the property, so you couldn't have, by definition, a carriage house. So you'd have to pre-design your lot with that in mind in order to have a 3 to 3.5 meter
I see.
driveway that goes to the rear of the property.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I thought it'd be pretty difficult. Councillor Holmes.
In the public hearing, the developer mentioned that they'd be building all the houses. Is that correct, or will they be building all the homes, or just some of them? And if it's just some of them, which ones?
Well, we heard you. Thank you.
That's
How do we ensure that, and how do we?
Yeah, I think that was the statement earlier as well. Yeah.
Because that's new information, isn't it, compared to what we heard originally before we went to
No.
public hearing?
It's not new information.
I'd like to hear from the developer, please.
If we move to,
We're
let's be
asking
careful
questions.
here. We're asking questions of the planner.
Yes, please.
Okay,
If I could hear from the planner, I'd appreciate it.
okay.
So the question is, Does the developer indicate in their application that they intend to construct the buildings? And yes, that was presented at the public hearing, the first public hearing, as well as at the public input session, that they intended to proceed. Of note, though, there is no requirement for that to be the case as far as rezoning. So if the property is rezoned and subdivided, there isn't a requirement that that developer carry forward. It may be their intention, but there isn't a requirement. We can't create some requirement that they build the homes. They could sell the lots for other development.
I see.
And that happens as developments proceed based on what happens with the marketplace.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Carlson.
There's also been some questions raised about the access to the highway off Wharf Street, and not just with this, but with other developments in Trout Creek. So has there been conversation with either the Ministry of Transport or the RCMP, and when would changes need to be made at that location?
So there is ongoing discussions with Ministry of Highways about both the access points. At this point in time, the ministry's decided to leave that access open. We haven't been provided a date or a timeline for closing the Wharf Street access. That may come in the future. At this point in time, it's not proposed. There isn't a date that's been set to say that in 2018 nor a unit count that would establish when that would take place. At this point, it's still as highway access and still being utilized. Whether it is in the future is a lot of that's going to be driven by the Ministry of Highways. But we definitely have concerns and questions and ongoing discussions with Highways about all of our access points, and we have several in the community.
Thanks.
Okay, Councillor Traynor, then Councillor Holmes, then Councillor Peak, and Councillor Booth.
I just had a question. Trout Creek is in the urban growth area. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So given that developments occurred at a bunch of different times there, is there any value to doing a community plan for that neighborhood, given there's not a whole lot left there to develop for new developments? So would there be a point in having one at this time?
I think the point is that almost every neighborhood gains value from having a neighborhood plan conducted for it, whether it's an established neighborhood or it's a new neighborhood or it's one that's going through redevelopment. Trout Creek in particular has a series of phases that have shaped it, from the agricultural phase to a development without sewer, and then moving to development taking place with sewer, and a change from agricultural to more residential. So there's a lot of transition and definition that's changed over time in that neighborhood. So there would always be a value in a neighborhood planning process. The question would be is where does that fit in the list for council as far as priorities on neighborhood planning? It would be very difficult to conduct multiple neighborhood plans simultaneously in the community. So council has elected to start with the downtown neighborhood plan, and staff would bring forward some recommendations for moving to the next neighborhood plan. So where this would fit in, it certainly would be of value to have a neighborhood plan, and council could consider neighborhood planning for all of your neighborhoods, and there would be benefit for not just answering questions for the residents, but also answering questions for future development on how it should take place and the formats within it. And if you look at the lakeshore, the highway corridor, Lower Town, all of these sort of areas have their own definition at this time, and how that's going to carry forward into the future is well mapped with a neighborhood planning process.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, I think we had Councillor Holmes, and then Councillor Peak, and then Councillor Booth.
Just a couple quick things. Just referring back to Councillor Carlson's comment about Wharf Street, is the MOT's only option would either keep it open or close it? Would they ever consider, or has ever been discussion of putting lights there, like in Johnson?
So the last discussion, my understanding is that was decided against putting a light there. It's certainly, I don't think any door has been closed from my understanding, and talking to the district's engineer, has been closed on what's going to take place there. But there hasn't been any decision other than to leave it as it is now at this point.
Okay, but it's either if it would be on the table along with closing if they decided to do something.
Well, there's
else,
multiple
or?
options that
Right.
could take place at that intersection. It could be changed to right in, right out. central barricade. There's all kinds of different configurations that would
Yeah.
reduce access to that point and reduce the contact points. But those discussions haven't taken place.
Sure, okay. And
You have
another? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Now, has the, there's a lot of discussion about and my concern is this, of course, school safety along Nixon there with those additional housings. And was there any community amenities proposed for maybe addressing something that could be done along Nixon? I understand our last discussion is sidewalks weren't really feasible, but anything else to just improve the safety of children walking along that street?
There is no proposed community amenities at this point, other than the public walkway and the trees for the subdivision. There is no proposal at this point for Nixon. It was reviewed by the city engineer as far as the traffic volumes associated with the proposed subdivision. It did form part of the traffic analysis that's been going on in that neighborhood for quite some time, as there was anticipated development on this site and 2 other sites adjacent to Nixon. It's formed part of the numbers for quite some time for infrastructure, and this particular roadway did not come forward as requiring upgrades in order to handle the traffic flow.
Okay, Councillor Holmes?
Yep, thanks.
Okay, Councillor Peak.
Yes, I too had the safety concern, and if I may, I think at the last discussion, although it was indicated that because of the high water table, that sidewalks weren't something that would likely to be feasible, there was a discussion around delineation of a strip at the side of the road to allow for walking area for residents and students. Is that something that would still be in consideration?
So pedestrian access and pedestrian infrastructure forms part of our bylaw. So that would be a part of at subdivision. There would be detailed engineering to determine what pedestrian structure would work best there based on the stormwater management for the area, which is one of the restrictions around sidewalks is can we deal with the stormwater as a result of building that infrastructure? Or is it better to go with a walkway or a widened shoulder? But that would happen when detailed engineering takes place if it were to move forward to subdivision.
And if I may, when the traffic was taken into consideration, was the possibility that some of these would have carriage houses also taken as part of those numbers?
So all of the single-family residential zoning districts allow for secondary suites, so they form part of the consideration by numerical count anyways. So you're looking at, to a certain level, the worst-case scenario. Particularly from engineering, you're looking at peak time with peak number of units, which would carry forward as if everybody had a secondary suite.
Okay, so you take it at the very top of the scale as opposed to some average or intermediate.
That's correct.
Okay, and there was a specific statement around that short-term rentals may turn up in this kind, in units like this. Is that something, how do we regulate something like that?
It's short-term rentals are definitely a discussion that we, at some point here in the near future, need to have. Most communities are looking at them in relation to affordable housing, but they're also looked at in other communities related to nuisance and other problems. At this point, as far as I've been aware in our files, I haven't seen a lot of vacation rental issues, like direct issues in the community as far as bylaw enforcement or activities creating nuisance in the community. But it's noted in an affordable housing context that it does potentially have an impact. So there will be a need at some point moving forward to talk about vacation rentals. But at this point in our bylaws, it's not a permitted use. So if it's conducted, it's an illegal use at this point.
And if I may, Mr. Mayor, there's, and this is not the only forum that this was brought forward by our community, but in terms of the style or whether you get a hodgepodge of design, is there a way that can be or is being addressed with this particular plan?
As noted, the developer is proposing to do what's called a statutory building scheme, and it's a scheme around the form and character of the individual homes. And it's not a component the district would normally involve themselves. It's a private covenant. And they provide these covenants to ensure exactly that there's symmetry or some level of quality format to the neighborhood for their own interest. So as they sell lots, homes are being built that are going to supplement the marketplace for them, not hurt the marketplace for them. So generally those statutory building schemes do not list the district within them, and they're not monitored or followed. Like, we don't require building permits to meet those statutory building schemes. We do not review them. The developer will review them with the new property owner, and they would be a point of discussion with their lawyer at conveyancing when they buy the house. You look at those statutory building schemes to ensure that you can build what you want to build.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Councillor Booth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Dean, Mr. Strachan, the question that I have is around the lot size. The proposal is from agricultural to RSD1, right? So, yeah, so that's the highest density of the RSDs, correct?
No, we have one more. It's an RSDI, which is a more
yeah, that's
intensive
right.
zoning district.
Okay.
This is the highest of the low density zones, yes.
Okay, so the proposal is for rezoning to RSD1.
Correct.
And we've heard a little bit earlier this evening that if carriage homes are put on there at the RSD1, it would be quite, there would have to be a considerable planning in order to get that done so that the driveway could go through.
Correct.
At an RSD1. Is it, in your experience, if we were to look at a larger lot size, RSD2, as the rezoning, is it more likely in your experience that there would be carriage homes? A lot of people have talked about the densification and their worries about the densification. And I originally was thinking, well, RSD2, it would be less dense than RSD1. But if it means that it is more likely that carriage homes will go in, then that doesn't really solve the densification concerns that I have. So in your, I don't know if you can give a kind of in your opinion or in your experience
I really,
response?
it's not more a question of sort of as a planning guidance to council. It'd be more what has been the development pattern that's taken place. So the development pattern generally is building to the full setback limitations within the zoning district. So the RSD1 and the RSD2 have the same setbacks. So if you go with an RSD2 zoning district, you're going to get a larger home, but you're still going to get about 40% lot coverage. So the houses that are being constructed in Trout Creek carry to that extent. In any way, any format, you're still looking at a 1.5 meter side yard setback. So they both face that same issue. So if you look at the RSD2 developments that have taken place, not just in that neighborhood, but other areas in Summerland, they're building out to that 1.5 meter setback. They're not leaving enough space in order to have that. Where you see the carriage houses where you have, generally, you'll see where they have lane access. So where you have a lane, so you don't have to lose your side yard in order to have a driveway through. So whether it's RSD2 or RSD1 doesn't necessarily preclude that. If it's an oversized lot or is a corner lot or is a lot that has a lane, is likely going to produce a configuration that's going to be more conducive, whether it's RSD1 or 2.
Okay.
So that access and getting to the backyard without having a driveway that goes the full length of the property, that limits quite a bit of your land area.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else? Question for Mr. Strachan? Okay, would someone like to bring a motion forward? Go ahead.
I have a question
Go
about
ahead.
that. And this is, I guess, a process thing. The resolution is written in 1 and 2. Is it possible to bring through Is it possible to bring them forward separately? Or do they need to come forward and be voted on at the same time?
Separately is fine.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yep.
So I'd like to bring forward the first motion.
Go ahead.
that official community plan amendment 45418 Nixon Road, bylaw number 2017-22 be read a third time. And I just want to make sure this is the amendment from A1 to
RSD1. In the OCP. not
in
the
it's
first-
in the designation in the OCP, not the rezoning. Right, correct. Thank you.
I'll second it.
Seconder,
Councillor
Councillor Carlson, thank you. Okay, any further discussion on this motion? Councillor
I'd just like to ask Councillor Boot the reasoning for wanting to bring them separately.
My reasoning is I'm not ready to vote on the zoning bylaw amendment to RSD1, but I am ready to vote on the designation from the official community plan from agriculture
To RSD1.
to RS. Oh yeah, that's right. To low density residential. Does it have to be RSD1?
So if you redesignate the property to low-density residential, you're invoking that sort of group of zonings that fall in there, the RSD 1 and 2 and 3, as well as the RSDY.
Okay,
I,
so,
excuse me.
okay. Does that answer your question, Councillor Holmes? I'm not ready to vote on the zoning to RSD1, but I am ready to vote on the official community plan amendment from agriculture to low density residential.
Yeah, no, I understand perfectly what what the intent is. I'm just wondering if this accomplishes that intent or not. I'm thinking the same way as you are. I'm just wondering if this is the right, if this will accomplish that. I don't know. It's a tough one.
I don't know either.
Councillor Trainer.
I think the question is, can we pass this first one, and then if we're not ready to vote on the second one, or we don't agree with the second one, like, is that possible? That's the question. Does that make sense?
Well,
that-
sorry. Yeah, you would vote on the first one.
Yeah.
And it would either pass or fail.
Yeah.
And then you'll vote on the second one, and it'll either pass or fail.
Okay, okay.
That's
Good.
why I asked.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
So we've got a motion on the floor, moved and
Yes.
seconded, right?
Has it been seconded?
Okay, so.
I seconded it.
Yeah, Councillor Carlson seconded. We ready to move ahead?
No,
Okay.
Sorry
Go
to
ahead.
be a pain, but
No, no problem.
I just need clarification on exactly what this, the OCP amendment is.
So
What
maybe
it
Mr.
says.
Mr. Strachan can explain what exactly you're voting on the OCP amendment resolution.
So the OCP amendment is to change the designation from agricultural to low-density residential.
Yeah, this
So you're not providing zoning or development rights with that change. You're changing the official community plan, signaling that the future land use proposal for this area is as single-family residential. That's the land use. You're not granting any development rights with that. You still would require rezoning, so the zone would not change as a result of this bylaw. They would still need to come forward either with the bylaw that's before council or in the future another bylaw asking for single-family development rights.
Yep, I got it, thanks.
So. Essentially, we're allowing that includes RSD1, RSD2, RSD3 in this first motion.
Just designation.
Designation.
It represents that group, but it doesn't actually give development rights, so the property still remains zoned agricultural A1. So
Oh.
unfortunately, we don't have a big differentiation between names. It makes it a little confusing. So the A1 zoning stays in place until that second bylaw is changed. This would be an OCP change, so it changes council's long-term plan for this from agricultural to residential low density, which is represented by that group of single-family zoning districts, but it doesn't give it that zoning district. That's the second bylaw.
Councillor Carlson.
question to follow that then, if something were to happen to the home that's currently on that property, I'm not sure if anyone lives in there, but my understanding from inquiring previously is that if you change the zoning of something and say it burns down, it's no longer covered properly with insurance or something like this? Can you explain that?
The property zoning would not be changing with that OCP bylaw.
Yeah.
So what you're speaking to
Just
would be
designation.
if the zoning had changed, would they be able to rebuild the home according to the new zone? But the zoning isn't proposed to change
Okay.
under an OCP amendment.
Thank you.
So the grandfathering or the legally non-conforming status wouldn't have to be in question.
So by doing this, excuse me, first motion where it remains zoned agriculture, but designated for
Low density,
low
Correct.
density. So, I mean, that's essentially what that motion does. So the second motion, we still, would have to deal with, but, we'll remain to be seen what happens, I guess, so we'll have to deal with the first one. Councillor,
So
Mr. Strachan.
So the OCP can be amended without amending the zoning, but you can't amend the zoning without the OCP. So
Gotcha.
you have to amend the OCP in order to allow for the rezoning to go
Gotcha.
through.
Okay.
But you can amend the OCP and not proceed with rezoning.
Okay, am I clear enough? As it comes down to- Okay, are we ready to move ahead on this one now? Okay, all in favor of the motion? Carried? None opposed? Thank you. Okay, so that's the first one. Now we have a second motion to come.
If we want, we don't have to.
Pardon me, if they want?
Well, they would either, now,
Pardon me? Pardon me?
there has to be a motion on what to do, but whether or not to.
Yeah, there has to be a motion
read
to
it for a
deal
third
with
time
number
or to-
2.
I'll read the motion.
Go ahead.
If you like. That zoning bylaw amendment for 5418 Nixon Road, bylaw number 2017-23, be read a third time.
Thank you. Councillor
Second
Carlson.
that.
Okay, seconded. Go ahead.
So, this becomes a complicated, as all of these seem to be, but I was quite interested to hear from the proponent and to hear that, the people who own this property have been very thoughtful in their considerations, and I respect the folks of Trout Creek, and I know that there are a lot of issues surrounding Lighthouse Landing and, looking at the size of the houses and the lot size, and it feels like Trout Creek is changing, and they've seen there's some negative connotation with infill and with redevelopment, and I think that that's really unfortunate, but there needs to be a positive solution and a positive development where people can see that this can be done properly. And from what I've read and seen and understand, it looks to me like we're not talking about someone showing up, buying a piece of property and building monster homes on it, the way that some of the other development down there appears to have gone. We're talking about someone who's lived in that community for a very long time and respects their neighbors and is trying to do something good for the neighborhood and good for the community. And I would be hesitant to deny that opportunity to let it happen. And if there's no way for us to enforce it, then we have a problem. I think that if the district and if if things aren't followed through the way that were presented to us, where things will look nice and they will be a certain size and they will be more affordable than Lighthouse Landing, for example, and it will actually integrate into the neighborhood, then I think we have an issue logistically, and there needs to be some form of, what's the word, when we control. We need to have some form of a recourse if that is the case. But I believe that a positive development needs to happen so that people can see things are being done well. And
if what's presented is an example of that, which I believe it is from what I've seen, I think we need to let them move forward on this. I wonder if the proponent has been in discussion with the neighbors, if they've talked to some folks who have some concerns. I mean, we don't want it to become a fight, but we do need to recognize that Trout Creek is a neighborhood where development is happening and is going to continue to happen. And some of these concerns should be alleviated through the planning process that appears to be underway.
So I just wanted to ask Mr. Strachan, some of the concerns, I guess, that Councillor Carlson has reflected on, those would be basically covered in the subdivision stage, is that correct?
Some components, yes. As far as talking to the neighbors and so forth, the applicant was requested by council after the first public hearing to go and meet with the neighbors and contact the neighbors, have those discussions. So that took place. The applicant indicated that they'd had those discussions with the neighbor in advance of the October 5th open house that we hosted. And then all the information that was collected at the open house, and we received approximately 25 submissions, were forwarded to council and also the applicant for their review and consideration.
Thank you. Councillor Peak, did you have a?
Yes, thank you. I'm going to echo Councillor Carlson's statements without reflecting on all of them, but I think that those were fairly made, and I do agree with them. I look at the opportunities within our community to be able to develop, and Trout Creek is advantageous because it is a flat topography. It allows for the kind of development that will reflect good values within our community should it build out in a reasonable and responsible manner, which I believe it will, and that we have infrastructure available. And those are the things that, when I sit at the council table, I see as being important. We know that our community has needs for housing, and that there are professional people that are looking for the kind of housing that this would provide. And those are the reasons that I could see supporting this particular development. And I think it's important for us to look at the community as a whole and where those opportunities lie.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Holmes.
I think we do need to recognize that Trout Creek has been snake bitten a little bit in the recent past with Lighthouse Landing. What happened there isn't really what was expected. We reduced the lot sizes on the development right on the highway in Johnson, and I voted in favor of that, thinking that would lead to more affordable housing being on the highway, but it hasn't really worked out that way. I think in the absence of a neighborhood plan there, we have to keep some of the current consistency of the neighborhood and compatibility of the existing neighborhood. I appreciate the attempts the developer has made to alleviate some of the neighbors' concerns. I appreciate the covenant they've put on to include the trees. But I think I think they're almost there. They're on the right track. I said this before. It's just not quite yet. I think there's more that they can do, and especially those lot sizes along Nixon. If those could be a little bit larger, say the same size on Wharf, I think that might be more palatable. I think we need to look at some sort of combination of RSD1 with RSD2. That might work better. So it's just not quite there yet for me.
Councillor Traynor.
I agree with what Councillor Holmes just said. I think that the developer did talk to the neighborhood, and they did get quite a bit of feedback, and they did make some changes, but I also don't think it's quite there yet. Given the surrounding homes and the development on Brighton, which is mostly RSD2, I think that this development would be better suited to be an RSD2 to go along with the neighborhood. So I think that there's definitely potential there. I just think it needs a little bit more work. So I won't be supporting the current motion on the table, but I am supportive of some kind of development there in the future, near future.
Okay, council, any more discussion? Ready to move ahead? Oh, Councillor Booth.
Seeing as how I brought the motion forward, maybe I should speak to it. The reason I asked to have them split is exactly this reason. Much like Councillor Holmes and, well, I guess everybody, agree that the development, that's a good place to develop. It's in the urban growth area. It has all of the services. It's flat, all of that. If we can get more children there to fill up some empty seats in Trout Creek Elementary, that's even better. However, I too feel that an RSD2 zoning would be more appropriate for the neighborhood than the current application for RSD1. So I will not be voting in favor of this either.
Councillor Peak.
When I look at the expression and discussion around RSD1 and RSD2 and carriage houses and the evidence of how development is actually occurring in Summerland, both sitting at this table and as stated by our planner, Dean Strachan, that people build to the outer reaches of their property, and those size lots will then more likely attract the opportunity for carriage houses. Then I reflect a little differently on whether you necessarily want to change the combination to RSD2. So those are part of my thoughts.
Councillor Carlson.
And to follow on that as well, I think that you also recognize that once it becomes RSD2, you now have a larger lot, which now costs more money, and there's a bigger house, which also costs more money, which then becomes part of that conversation as well. So this may go back to consideration, but that would be my thought to the whole process.
Has everybody any more input? Okay, the motion's been moved and seconded. All in favor? 3 in favor, opposed? Motion's defeated. Thank you. Moving ahead to 14.2. Elliott Street, Mr. Strachan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the second public hearing from earlier this evening. This is related to an OCP amendment and rezoning application for Elliott Street in order to redesignate and rezone 2 of the 3 lots and allow for a multifamily development to take place on the subject property. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, any questions of planner, please? Council? No questions? Councillor Trainer.
The lot next to this one, which was already rezoned, is that correct? That's what it said in the report? When was that rezoned? Oh, but it's been that way for a while?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Councillor Carlson?
Can I move 14.2 as presented?
Yes, you can.
Thank you.
Seconder? Councillor Peak, thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Booth.
I just have one question. The proponent mentioned that there were 14 units in 2 separate buildings, and that there were, this is just a technical thing, I'm just curious about it, firewall separations. Are the firewall separations unit to unit? Like there's 7 and then 7 facing, right? Is there a firewall between each unit?
So the construction component normally doesn't form part of the rezoning, so you're not seeing the details of,
Oh, I see.
of BC building code requirement.
Okay.
They would have separations, and what they're speaking to is a separation along the building structure to actually have 2 separate buildings. So you install a larger firewall structure that separates the two buildings. Then you have fire separation between the individual units as well.
Okay.
But what they're doing is creating a larger fire break that prevents it from having thresholds that take it higher level of fire protection requirements.
Okay, thank you. And I have one other question, Mr. Mayor. Looking at the plan, they talk about the trees in the middle, kind of as traffic calming, and then the seated benches around there. I'm assuming, maybe I shouldn't assume, but that there is enough width on either side for a regular width of a roadway or a driveway, sorry.
So there would be a requirement that they provide detailed engineered drawings. So when if it's approved, it would come back for a development permit. As a part of that process, you'd see more detailed designs that would show parameters around access and being able to get through there with the vehicles,
Okay.
as well as access for fire crews as well.
Yeah, I really like that idea. Makes it more community oriented. I like that.
Councillor
Thank
Peak?
you. That's all.
Yes, I appreciated the developer coming forward and giving us a little more detail on the description. When I look at the 200-foot depth, there was a comment from the developer that there was going to be an opportunity for green space in behind. Is this something that we encourage, and how might that play out?
So the setback provisions within the zoning district have side yard as well as front and rear yard setbacks, and those are being adhered to. In addition, there's additional space being created, so you'll see in the site plans provided that in addition to the setback area, they've got an additional, I believe it's a little over a meter, almost 2 meters of additional space to create that backyard feel to the individual units.
I think that's great. I think this is an opportunity for our community, and that this kind of development is something that we should be looking forward to.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we've got a mover and seconder. Any further discussion? Okay, are we ready for the motion, the vote? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries, none opposed. Okay, moving ahead to 14.3. Mr. Stratton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is the third public hearing from earlier this evening. This is related to the properties on Kelly Avenue and the proposal to for OCP amendment to allow for, and rezoning, excuse me, to allow for 9 single-family dwellings with secondary suite provisions. Oh.
She'll be back.
Thank you.
She'll be back.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Questions of the planner, please. Council, any questions, Mr. Stratton? Mr. Holmes?
I'll
Councillor
bring the
Holmes.
motion forward as presented.
Okay, thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Peak, thank you. Councillor
Yeah,
Booth, I'm
just
sorry.
one quick
Yeah,
question.
go ahead.
I think when we were looking at the overhead, it showed lot 1, lot 2, et cetera, up to lot 9. The plan that we have shows the 4 different lots as they are now. So each of those 4 lots is being subdivided, is that correct?
So what essentially the process that happens is those 4 lots are consolidated to a single parcel and then reapportioned.
Oh, I see.
So those boundaries that you see
Okay.
between the different lots are dissolved into one parcel, and and it happens simultaneously through the subdivision process.
Okay, and that's why they can be considered freehold, because you own that. It's not a strata. I think that's what
The ownership
we heard.
model is
Yes.
proposed to be a freehold title,
Freehold title,
single-family
yeah.
development.
Good, thank you.
Do we have a seconder?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Okay, all in favor? Motion carries, none opposed, thank you. Moving ahead to 14.3. Mr. Strachan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is the 4th public hearing from this evening, and this is related to the zoning bylaw text amendment brought forward by staff as part of our review of the zoning bylaw. And this particular one is in relation to carriage houses as well as secondary suites, and a proposal that would allow for those uses in additional zoning districts in the CR1 as well as the A1. In addition to a number of text amendments that would allow for full-size carriage houses in some of the zones where it's restricted, and some housekeeping items around regulations related to those. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions of the planner, please? Go ahead.
Yeah,
Don't
sorry.
be worried about it, just do it.
I do have a few questions. The first question is in the actual text of the bylaw. Should the text of the bylaw, and maybe I missed it, but should it show the A1 that we're talking about, A1, Agriculture 1 and CR1 in the text of the bylaw? Or not? Because this is a text amendment, right? But I don't see that text amendment in the bylaw. It showing the agriculture, the A1 and the CR1 zoning. Is that an oversight, or maybe it doesn't need to be in there?
Don't have the bylaw in front of me. Hold on one sec.
Well, while you're looking for that, could I ask another question? When we're talking about A1, does that include agricultural land that is in the ALR?
It does include agricultural land that's in the ALR. The A1 zoning district unfortunately includes parcels which are not in the ALR. The proposal is to allow for secondary suites within that zoning district, which is permitted under the ALC regulations.
Okay.
You'll note that it has specific parameters around requiring those to be within the single-family dwelling, which matches the ALC's regulations. So the ALC allows for secondary suites on ALR lands as long as they're within the single-family dwelling.
Okay.
But don't permit them to be a separate building. There's other provisions and other housing types, so farm help.
For farm help, yes.
Exactly.
Okay, and then one other question is related to Mr. Gordon, who spoke about this text amendment. And I'm just going to put the question through to you. This is in reference to Hunter's Hill. Is there a need to revisit the work that has already been done, development work that has already been done on Hunter's Hill, or
No,
not?
so as I spoke to with the Nixon application around carriage houses, so secondary suites are already an allowable use. So a carriage house is just a different format.
Sorry, I should be a little bit more clear. So Mr. Gordon was referring to service type things and
Yes.
ESA permits and that kind of stuff. Does that have to be revisited because there is the potential for carriage homes on Hunter's Hill?
No, because the servicing is already calculated at the maximum that could be developed. So every house is looked at as a single-family dwelling with a secondary suite. So the infrastructure components are designed to absorb that density already, because you have to design to the maximum potential, even though that's not likely to take place, that you would get one in every house. You still have to design to that maximum. As far as the ESAs and the other components, those are already established within.
Right. We already went through all of
It's
that
already, so it
permitting.
doesn't alter any of those requirements.
Okay.
It's still within the buildable areas identified
Right.
within the subdivision plans.
Okay, good, thank you. I
It would
just
be
was
it would be
curious.
similar to what we've talked about. It'd be a reconfiguration of the way you would develop that. But with a large estate lot, it's not uncommon to have a separate garage or a separate access. You've got more
Right.
space to maneuver.
Right.
So it doesn't adversely impact necessarily the development plans as much as it would on a smaller urban lot.
Okay, good, thank you.
To answer your question in relation, did you already got that?
Go ahead.
Oh, in relation to, so the bylaw, you'll see reference to two sections being amended. It doesn't say the zoning district, but you'll see items C and D under identify 8.13 as being amended to add secondary suites. So that's the A1 zoning district is where that's being added.
Okay.
So it's not listing the zone itself. And same with section 9.13. It's not listing that that's the CR, but that is the section
is
of the
this-
bylaw that
Okay,
references to that.
good, thank you.
Okay, we're getting pressed here. We
I was
need
going to bring the
I don't
resolution
wanna
forward.
interrupt. Go ahead.
I was going to bring the resolution forward.
Okay, go ahead, please.
So it's a zoning bylaw text amendment by 2017-032, be read a third time.
Okay, thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Carlson, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Now I need a motion to extend the meeting for this evening, please. Councillor Carlson? Councillor Holmes, thank you. All in favor? Thank you very much. Okay, now we can proceed. Have we missed anything?
I don't think so.
Okay, just be sure.
Council reports?
Yep, moving into council reports. Councillor Trainer.
Given the time, I do not have a council report tonight.
Thank you.
Me neither.
Councillor Booth. Councillor
I'll
Collins.
just make a comment. Tomorrow is the Okanagan Regional Library Board meeting, so I will be attending. And on Saturday at the Peachland Library, the ORL is doing they have a new logo and sort of new branding, and there's a launch party at Peachland, which is also now reopened after the accident that was earlier this year.
Thank you. Councillor Holmes.
No report.
Councillor Peak.
Yes, thank you. I attended the Penticton Regional Hospital topping off ceremony for the David E. Campi Tower, and it was very well done. There was a signing for the beam that will be installed in that tower, and I was pleased to be there to represent or to witness that for Summerland as well. There was a dry grad fundraiser at the Presbyterian Church, now the service station. I want to congratulate them on that particular work. And I attended the TODA Summit and AGM, and I would like to let council know that Thompson Okanagan is the first destination in the Americas to earn an international biosphere certification. And there were 137 benchmarks that had to be answered, and this opens up a great opportunity to market our region in a different way.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Now we go to the opportunity for the public to bring their concerns forward.
Good evening. My name is Doug Wall. I'd like to comment on this aquifer protection strategy. Now, what LARC are proposing to do is to monitor the occurrence of turbidity in the aquifer and in the spring. To date, though, there still has not been any comprehensive assessment of the risk of the development on the aquifer itself, or once a turbidity event starts, how it can be stopped. And that's an important distinction. So this really is not a protection strategy as you might think of it in the whole sense, which would include a risk assessment, containment strategy, and a monitoring strategy. So just to be aware. I'd also wanted to know if we could find out who the engineering firm is that's been selected.
Did we mention it, Mr. Strachan? No, we didn't.
No.
Okay. I'm not sure whether that's an option, is it? Mr. Strachan?
It's the firm that we've selected is Golder and Associates.
Oh, it is Golder. Okay.
Okay, and if we could see the terms of reference of the assessment that Golder is required to undertake?
So when we actually have completed the initial review, we're going to be establishing what that will be. So we will be bringing that back to council.
Right. Okay, thank you.
And whether or not the Golder and Associates and the engineers have experience and qualifications dealing with a situation in a similar circumstance where there's a development on top of a near surface aquifer. Do they have that qualification?
We brought forward the scenario to one of the senior engineers who reviewed it and is identifying what they feel is the appropriate engineers to conduct the review.
So will there be assurance that the engineers have direct experience with a development on a near surface aquifer?
We've asked them to review what's been provided and have given the scenario to them, which includes the fact that we do have geotechnical issues and questions as well as an aquifer in place. So all that information has been provided
Right.
to the associate.
But I think it's really important that they have the qualifications and experience to deal with a near surface aquifer. And so I would encourage you to make sure that they actually have that direct experience.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wall.
One final question. What
We've
is
well
the cost?
exceeded our 2 minutes, Mr.
Sure.
Wall.
What
We're
is the
getting late
cost
and
of the
other
review?
people may want to speak.
The cost of the review?
Don't know if we know that yet, do we?
We haven't finalized the price. It's gonna be based on what this established in the terms of reference as well as the level of review that they require.
Thank you.
Jeanette
ma'am.
McLaughlin, I live at 5481 Solly Road. I'd just like to say thank you, Mr. Mayor, for bringing back the topic about the organic link to the dump. Sorry, I don't have the exact.
Compost facility,
Yes,
project,
yes, thank you. Somebody mentioned that it's been going on for 5 or 6 years, all of this. Has Summerland really had 5 or 6 years to look at all of the information provided, or were they only given several months?
I believe that's correct, yeah.
They've had 5 or 6 years?
No.
Well,
So
they've
the
been-
decision made by council was made with only a couple months of non-information?
Correct.
Well, I would like to really congratulate you on at least looking after our interests, even if the rest of council didn't. And I'm really on another matter with Banks Crescent. If you're philosophically opposed to a development, how can you even look at it in a very open-minded way, or should you excuse yourself? Madam?
May I speak?
We're limited to back and forth, but go ahead. It's not really discussion time, it's time for people
It's just
to
my
make
comment.
concerns.
I'm done.
So, could I respond to your statement? I have been engaged in council as all of us here have been for the last 18 months, most extensively in the last 12 months. I have taken in all of the information that everybody else has.
That's not what I asked you. You started your motion with, I am philosophically opposed to this development. I would ask you to excuse yourself if you are so against it. How can you even look at it?
I made the motion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I went into my reasons for making the motion. I did not start the motion with the fact that I am philosophically
Yeah, that was
opposed.
your first word, actually, but you'll see it in the minutes.
Okay,
It's
thank
all
you.
right.
I'll have
Thank
to,
you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and I'll have to stop that at that point. We have somebody else who'd like to speak?
Good
Yes, ma'am.
evening. My name is Sandy Paulson. I live at 6502 Solly Road. I'll be brief. It's late. Given the recent snowstorm that we just experienced late last week, Thursday, Friday, and certainly we were left with some less than desirable road conditions as a result of that storm, I'm just wondering if any of mayor and council happened to drive Solly Road Thursday, Friday, Saturday? And if so, what was your experience like? And having asked that question, do you think it's prudent to add another 2,000 vehicles to the alignment and slope of Solly Road? And I'm talking the first 700 meters.
Okay,
My
thank you.
comment was, I saw many vehicles not make the hill and also slide down the hill. And that went on 4 days. Just thoughts for consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Diana Smith, Solly Road. Last meeting, I believe we were going to get the infrastructure costs from the district at this meeting. We were going to have a proposal from the staff as to how much it's going to cost to maintain the roads, the ongoing yearly costs on the increase to the infrastructure, and I'm wondering where the report is.
The Director of Development's Works and Utilities, Chris Johnson, did this report. And council, as we advised him in the report, could ask for more information. There'll be more information from him coming, but
there's no cost. That was just a summary of the last meeting.
Right. And that's all that he's done at this point in time. And I know that he's working on some more reports. And as council is getting the information, they may direct him to do.
Because
to-
Mr. Mayor actually asked for that, and Councillor brought that up, that the costs to the town ongoing have not been presented, only the fees coming into the town, not what we have to pay.
As I say, Mr.
Yeah.
Johnson's still working on more information.
So
That was all
when
he-
can we expect that?
I don't know. It depends on when he can get to it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else, please?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Donna Wall, Latimer Avenue. Just 3 points I picked up a lot of tonight. There was a lot of discussion about the benefit of having a neighbourhood plan. Lower Town already has a neighbourhood plan, and if we were to follow that plan, I don't think we'd even be entertaining the idea of something like what Lark is proposing for Banks Crescent. So really, what is the point of having neighbourhood plans if they're not going to be followed? Second thing I heard a lot about tonight was safety. It seemed to be a big part of a lot of the topics, and I'm wondering where all the questions or the answers to the questions about safety around the Banks Crescent development have gone, regarding people using all the streets in and out, not only by vehicle traffic, but also pedestrian traffic, because there will not be any safety. And the third issue is short-term rentals. Another thing that seems to me to have been a really big oversight when it comes to Banks Crescent proposal, because they're putting in 424 units. Who's to say there won't be Airbnb and week in, week out rentals? Is there anything in the plans for that? No.
Concerns are point
Okay.
taken. Thank you.
On behalf of another neighbour who was not able to stay here, she just left me with a plan for the Brighton Street, Wharf Street neighbourhood. I think, Tony, you might have been particularly interested, or Doug, to how to get lots so that there are not so many driveways coming out onto Nixon. So
should that go to Dean and then we can all see it?
Council has that plan in their package.
I think that was part of information.
Oh, so it's nothing new.
I'll take it if you wish.
do you have it?
Yeah, I have it right here.
Oh, okay.
It's in Council's package.
I'm Linda Green, and I live at 5709 Century Street. And I was really happy to hear of the two developments in town and in Trout Creek that are going to be affordable for families. Our demographics indicate that what Summerland needs is more affordable housing, including rental accommodation for families. We faced the possible closure of Trout Creek School earlier this year, and if we have a big seniors development with 400 units in it, that's not going to provide us with any students going into the schools. We also need more affordable assisted living and residential care facilities for our seniors. If Banks Crescent development goes through, we will have a much larger number of seniors who will eventually need increased care. The small number of assisted living and dementia units Lark is proposing to build will not be able to absorb all these extra seniors. Also, the beds they are planning to provide will only be built once they have sold the condos and will be available at market value. They may well have enough wealthy seniors to fill these beds, but Summerland needs more funded beds, not more private pay rooms. We already have residential care beds that are not fully utilized because many seniors are not in a financial position to pay the total cost of these unfunded beds. And as far as the public hearing goes, I would hope that council would wait until they have all the information, including the financial ongoing costs that Diana mentioned, as well as everything else that we have asked as a community. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else like to speak? Okay, thank you. Any press, any questions or concerns? John? No? Okay, thank you. Okay, council, can I have a motion to adjourn, please? Councillor Holmes, Councillor Peak, all in favor? Thank you.